plan, our style, and our players that would turn up. So it's not the end of the world. The final series, and as we've seen this year, anyone can basically win it. So you just got to turn up for that 4-week period, and then we'll see what happens.
Mate, personally, looking in good shape. The rig's looking pretty fit. I saw a few photos on the Daily Mail, actually, of yourself. You're looking like you could still play.
That's embarrassing, mate.
You're not tipping off the snappers, are you, Jared?
No, absolutely not. Now, the person that asked that question, I think he's known for that in Bondi. I've seen him a little bit getting that done.
I was just impressed with the rig, mate. It's good to see.
Jared, we've been very impressed with the Sydney Swans across the year for the most part as well. All the best tonight.
Thanks, guys. Tough.
Jared McVeigh, who we spoke to a short time ago. Thanks for being on the boundary as well. Back to her very shortly. But yes, Taikanelli, Joel Patfull in the recent Hall of Fame as well, Jared McVeigh, the Bloods Hall of Fame, which I'm sure is a nice honour for him. But just on that loss of Port I mentioned, so that was a 112-point loss around 21, only 3 weeks ago. No top team has suffered a loss so bad. So that was the unwanted piece of history there for the Sydney Swans. That was a loss of nearly 20 goals at the hands of Port Adelaide, who of course now potentially rival them, certainly for a top 2 finish, and still have an unlikely claim to minor premiership as well. But so no team has lost that many games, I think, in the back end, or 5 games in their last 9 to finish the minor premiers, and no team's lost by 112 points, which the Swans did. So to turn things around from there, back-to-back wins, albeit against teams as well. We're playing for their finals aspirations, but the Crows can spoil the party here tonight. But Jared McVeigh is a good guy to speak to about parallels with 2012.
Yeah. How many teams had the luxury like the Swans have had for the last 6 weeks of the season? Not many in the past 15 years coming in.
To be that far ahead.
And they've been through the process of resting players, and then what happened when they started doing that, or managing players, you end up getting a couple of injuries, Rowbottom and Justin, Paps. So you're trying to manage players, and then all of a sudden you get some injuries to some key players, and it just really unsettles what you're trying to do. And I think Rowbottom was the biggest one for that midfield group without Warner and Earl and those boys. Because of not having Rowbottom's defensive pressure and his ability to get after the opposition not there, they really affect them, and Rampy's another one. So, and also there's the grind when you know you're there. People are forgetting they're there. They were there 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, and as a player, you're there, and it's like, oh well, let's go out and just watch myself a bit, and that's not very professional, but that can creep into your brain, and there's a lot of people talking about it. So that's part of the piece as well, the day-to-day grind and the contest piece itself, and that wasn't quite as sharp. I've no doubt they'll rip Adelaide apart here.
We'll focus on the game itself, but it's hard to know where to begin with the Crows, who, as I mentioned, have made 4 changes tonight. So much of the past week or so has centred around Josh Rochelle. As we know, a third-year player, highly regarded. He was a top 10 draft pick. He's contracted there at the Crows for a further 5 years, but many feel he's been mistreated, made the scapegoat through another disappointing year of no finals under Matthew Nicks. Josh Rochelle was riling up the Port Adelaide fans last week before the showdown. His team didn't like it. He's been dropped, and the melodrama that's come from all of this, including liking an Instagram comment from a fan telling him that he's been unfairly treated and he should seek a trade. He clarified he didn't mean to like the comment. His captain, Jordan Dawson, came out yesterday and spoke about it. Here's what his coach, Matthew Nicks, had to say.
It's about values, about the standards that we are looking to uphold consistently. Central to that's being team first, and so Josh and I have had a number of conversations. It's not isolated to recent events. This is something we've been working on for a long period of time now. Not just Josh and I, but the team, the entire squad, about what it is we stand for, and that's why the decision.
So I'm keen to know from you, Taikanelli and Joel Patfull, as the Crows make their way out onto the SCG ahead of the opening bounce in about 14 minutes' time. I'm keen to know from you whether, A, you have a view on the Josh Rochelle stuff, and certainly if you've had a similar experience during your playing days of a teammate who was told to pull their head in and the sort of consequences for that. As I say, I think it's merely symptomatic of a sweeping range of issues at that club, but this has been front and centre this past week.
Yeah, it's always a tough one. I mean, I think the key thing for me is if you're going to put yourself out there and put yourself in a position where acts like that are magnified, you have to back it up on the field, and you have to do the team first thing that, like Nixie's talking about, on the field. If you perform and you do what the team's doing, nothing else matters. You can do what you want on social media, you can make comment, but if you're not performing on the field, and especially those key things, team acts, we saw obviously during the year going back with the flight and a few tough contests that he probably didn't go for. They're the things that start affecting that, and you start asking yourself questions. You see with the Hawks, the way they go about their games with social media, and they're so out there and engaging with fans, and they're backing it up on the field. So that's probably the line that I'd probably draw with that one.
Yeah, bang on with Josh and his incident itself, with obviously the team remarks and whatnot, the way he's carrying on. But knowing Nixie, and Nixie's trying to build a strong culture. The players love playing for him, and he's very much about that piece and the culture and all in. He'd be just most disappointed that probably Josh would have said, you know what, I did like it. And don't come out and say, I apologise. Well, mate, you stuffed up. And then he's come out and said, made a statement saying, well, sorry, mate, you're not playing. Just he's doubling down on it again, Josh. So and the players are the same. They're not stupid. So I couldn't agree more with what you said about the fact if you're going to do that. And Nixie's no problem with players being themselves and being individual and go out and do that. But you got to front up. And we saw a vision on one of the shows during the week. He's jumping out of the way of a ball. Like, mate, put your head over the pill and do that. So we need characters in the game, yes. But from a team perspective, you got to own up and put your hand up and say, yeah, well, I did do that and I did like it. And social media, whether we like it or not, is part of who we are as a footballer now.
Josh Rochelle played the SANFL today. He had 17 touches in the Crows, 14-point loss to Sturt, which means the Crows narrowly missed the SANFL final. So that was certainly the big talking point there. The other one is Mark Keane, and there's no suggestion of wrongdoing here, but off on personal reasons. Tig, the Irishman, he's had offers from clubs in Victoria. I think the Pies were coming hard for him, and there's obviously amidst a lot of talk about his future, he's missing this game here today, and there's been obviously in a town like Adelaide, a lot of innuendo around his future at the club and all the rest of it, but he misses tonight as well. Yeah,
it's tough. Look, it's tough for any player. I think for an international player, certainly being away from your home, and the grind at the end of the season can be very difficult when you're not playing finals. It's disappointing he's not able to finish the game with his team, and that's another challenging piece for Nixie around the culture piece of trying to keep onto your players and actually hold on to it. In a small town, talk and there's no smoke without fire. So and that's clearly in a small town. And I'm not saying anything in you and I don't know anything, but I'm knowing he's found the season very difficult, Mark, albeit a very good season.
The Swans are out there. They take their place at the round weekend of the SCG. The opening bounce here is 10 minutes away on ABC Sport. This is Saturday Night Footy. We'll keep you across the Lions and the Bombers as well. And you can keep your texts coming if you like. 0437 774 774. Let us know your name and where you're texting from here on this lovely Saturday evening in Sydney. So those changes for the Crows do open the door for the likes of Billy Dowling. It's only his 9th game. James Borlace, it's only his 10th appearance this year. Chase Jones, who's played fewer games this year than his previous 2 seasons. He's the sub tonight, so an opportunity for those guys tonight, as well as Taylor Walker as well, who has been on 1-year deals for the past handful of years, it seems, at the Adelaide Crows, and he's a key pillar, of course, in this last week with the eye injury. He's back inside this week.
Yeah, there's a bit going on, isn't there? There's obviously opportunity. I think that the young Crows defence could have a tough night tonight, obviously with Keane missing. A few guys will have to step up there, but it is good to see Walker out there. Whether it could be his last game for the Crows, we're not sure. He has, like you said, he's been hanging on for probably 5 years and been performing quite well.
I think it seems more likely than unlikely he will be there again next year, but yeah, it's never guaranteed at that age, is it?
Well, you're right, it does look that way, and you'd love to see a player like that to keep going, and if he thinks he can play, I think he deserves the right to play another year.
It's probably a depth issue that he shouldn't play, really. For a team that's pushing and in the top 4, he doesn't play, and that's probably where the club is at as a whole. Obviously, I think last year they had a better year as a whole, Adelaide. They were pushing a lot harder and pushing closer in games, and that's probably a disappointing thing that they haven't jumped up again and gone another level from their performances.
Don't want to go too far off topic, but speaking of South Australia and Adelaide and maybe a guy who might be there next year, and just seeing the banners out there reminded me of this little point. Alex Neil-Bullen, last night for Melbourne, he appeared as a farewell message alongside the retiring Ben Brown, and it was farewell Ben Brown and Alex Neil-Bullen. Now, he's seeking a trade back to his home state of SA for next year. Cameron Ling on ABC Sport was disgusted. He was saying he's playing somewhere else next year. There's no retirement. It's no big sort of milestone farewell. He had a big view on Alex Neil-Bullen being recognised as a farewell player at the Demons, despite the fact he'll play in SA somewhere next year. Well, do you have a view on that?
I like it. Sorry, Lingy. He's committed and he's played to the club. Get with the times. He's gone to another club. Well, this is my opinion that he deserves a farewell. It's albeit he's been traded or wants to trade. Well, so what? He gave all he did for the football club, and I think
Premiership
I think it's an old school mentality.
It's old school is 100% right. I mean, AFL clubs historically feel like that. I think they feel like they own players.
Hang on.
We see it with every other sport where they're open to get traded. Like, the Melbourne Footy Club has no loyalty to Neil Bullen. If they'd sacked him in the end of the year, they wouldn't have given him a farewell game. So I think it's fair enough. Like, players have the right to get traded, and I think the more transparency, the better, as you see in the overseas league.
He might be out there for the Crows next year, Alex Neil Bullen. It's Saturday night footy here on ABC Sport. It is the Sydney Swans and the Adelaide Crows getting underway momentarily. The incentive for the Swans is they can put the minor premiership to bed with a win here tonight. Otherwise, percentage pending, and in very extreme circumstances, the door will still be open for Port Adelaide, who play the very last game of the home and away season tomorrow against Fremantle. The Swans, by the way, are chasing what would be their 10th minor premiership. And in fact, in their time in Sydney at least, they've never been premiers and minor premiers in the same season. So on 3 occasions, 96, 2014, 2016 finished on top. None of those were premiership years. I'm pretty sure.
And any premiership year out of the 10?
As in going pre-Sydney.
Sydney.
Didn't get that
Oh, mate,
far
what's
back.
going on with your research?
I'm pretty sure.
There surely was
I'm pretty sure. Well, that's what I think.
72 before 05 would be a long way back, if so.
I think also already had 5 flags in the VFL, AFL, so they do count the 5 VFA ones as well. South Melbourne.
Okay.
And there's that symmetry. I think.
Sorry, try not to make.
I think if they win tonight, it's 17 wins, and in 14 and 16, when they were top of the ladder, when they had those horrible grand finals, they had 17 wins as well. So hoping to defy history. Quick one on Joel Armadi. It's his 50th game. Tig, you've talked about Joel a little bit and how he arrived at the club. 50th game isn't always a huge milestone, but for Joel Armadi, it'd be a big night.
It is for this kid. He's knowing his personal story and what he's gone through and the difficulties he's had. And the fact that he came to, I was at the club as an assistant coach his first day, and he couldn't do a lap of the oval. And the club have invested heavily on him as far as he was always very explosive, but they've got him fit, got him to a level he can play some footy. I mean, obviously the game he had against Adelaide early in the year, kicking 9 goals, but he does give you that presence, and when the ball hits the deck, he's so powerful, and still got a lot of work in his goalkeeping. But a great achievement from a young man that's has taken hold of it, and good on the club for sticking fat with it over the couple of years where they could have easily not, and just said it's not coming through, but they did, and now they're getting the reward, obviously.
Well, 50 games as well for a player who's earned every single game. He's been in the team that's been at the top of the ladder. He hasn't got free games. He's had to work for those games. It's a huge accomplishment. He's probably struggled with a little bit of form the last month or so. So probably pretty much since he kicked the 9 goals, he hasn't had a great return since then. So they'll be looking for a bit of a return from him tonight, but great effort to get to 50 games.
That's Joel Patfull alongside Ty Kennelly, Declan Byrne. I'm Brett Sprigg. This is ABC Sport across ABC Radio, News Radio, and the ABC Listen app. Repeat that change for the Swans. Isaac Heaney is being managed. Robbie Fox is the late in. He will be their sub. They're also managing Tom McCartan down back, so Aaron Francis in for him, while it's Chad Warner in for Corey Warner, who was last week's sub. And as I said, Robbie Fox is the sub this week. Taylor Walker headlines 4 inclusions for the visitors, along with Chase Jones, who is their sub, James Borlace and Billy Dowling. Out goes Isaac Rankin, Mark Keane, Josh Rochelle and Lockie Gallant. The opening bounce here is only 5 minutes away. Callum Mills is an interesting one as well, as far as he played entirely down back last week, had a season best 26 disposals, 10 intercept possessions. Where do you see the best opportunity for him tonight?
It's a be a tough one for them. I think they'll leave him as is. When he played, got him in the front, the temptation will be to put him back into the midfield, but he's missed an awful lot of football, and to expect someone to miss so much football no matter how good you are, and to go into the midfield and have an impact, clearly hasn't been able to do it. It's a great move obviously last week to get him down back. You might see him, bits and pieces of him going in there, but my preference would be to leave him, because the Swan step's enormous. You can always pull him in there in the finals. It steadies them up also, sorry.
No, I was going to say I agree. I think I worry about that Swans midfield if you get Taylor, Mills, even Parker going through there. They were so dangerous earlier in the year when they had that speed going through, leg speed of movement, so I'd expect to see him off half-back.
Crowd building here. It's members' thank you round for the Sydney Swans. So, as I say, the incentive for them to lock away the minor premiership, which is already pretty well in their grasp, or is going to be theirs anyway. The Adelaide Crows a chance to spoil the party in Matthew Nix's 5th year in charge. The opening bounce here just moments away on ABC Sport. The Swans have a decent record against the Crows, for what it's worth. They've won their past 5 against Adelaide and 6 of the past 8. All right, Ty, Joel, break it down for us. The key areas for you tonight, especially for the Crows, if they are to come here and win against the side they've had no good recent form against, and to finish the year on a strong, high note, break it down for us, your key points across this contest.
I think having a big week in the media and a last game of the season can really galvanise the group. Nixie would have been talking about within the 4 walls that the whole world's against them. It's the last game of the year, so I think they'll come up breathing fire, Adelaide. And obviously we know that the Swans haven't been starting on fire, and they'll be trying to impact. I think it's going to be very hot early. But I think Swans will be too good in the second half of the game. But I think the first half of the game will be really close. I'm expecting Adelaide to come out breathing fire after the week that they've had.
Yeah, I think they've got to match them in that midfield battle. Obviously, Heaney being out's a big loss for the Swans. Dawson and Crouch have been actually quite good for the Crows in there when they get their hands on the footy. And forward of the ball as well, Walker coming in. Obviously, McCartan going out for the Swans is a bit of a loss for them down there.
And Brodie Grundy's battle itself, and obviously in the midfield with Riley itself, it's going to be one to watch. And we talked about it pre-game. It's an interesting one from a Swans perspective, probably more from Adelaide because of the injury piece as a player. And I've been in a situation myself where you don't want to think about it, but it's there, and you can't not think about it. And you try not think about it, and it can impact you some bit. And if you're off anyway in this competition at the moment, being so close, a couple of percentage it can get you. But you'd want to come out breathing fire early in this space. And there's a couple of players in that team in the Swans that are going to be fighting for a final spot also. So they're the piece of you going, well, the younger players clearly last week was outstanding. So he's a young man that's trying to fight. Robbie Fox is going to come in. He's got a chance to try and fight for a spot to actually play in a final, play in a prelim, and you might play in a grand final if you play well here tonight.
You're right. We talked about the Swans' slow start, so the Crows would have talked about that during the week, and they'll throw everything they've got in this first 10, 15, 20 minutes. Will really set the tone for how this game goes for sure.
Toss won by Jordan Dawson. The Crows will kick to the Randwick end to start here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. By the way, at the Gabba, underway there. Brisbane 1-3-9. Essendon yet to score. The Lions looking to affirm their home final in the first week of the finals, sitting in 5th. They can't go any higher than that, but with that chasing pack featuring Hawthorn, massive win today. The Bulldogs, of course, who play against the Giants tomorrow. The Lions win that and they'll lock away their home final in week 1. Poppy Penny is boundary side for us on this lovely Saturday evening. Poppy, good evening to you.
Good evening. It is glorious down here. It's been a beautiful day in Sydney after a rainy start this morning, but it's absolutely beautiful. There is a little bit of a breeze, probably favouring the Randwick end, but it's nothing really to speak of. On the bench for the Sydney Swans starting is Hayden McLean, Taylor Adams, Braden Campbell and Matt Roberts, and of course the sub Robbie Fox, as you touched on, in for Isaac Heaney. And for the Adelaide Crows, Sam Berry, Dan Curtin, Mitch Hinge and Billy Dowling are starting on the bench, and Chase Jones as their sub.
So there you go. The Adelaide Crows can't go north or south of 15th spot, but they can finish with a 9th win if they can cause the upset here in the Harbour City. Or will it be the Swans' minor premiership coronation? This is ABC Sport, and you're with Declan Byrne.
Huge Saturday night game for the Swans. Can they re-establish themselves as the premiership favourites? Grundy with the first tap, but Dawson read it best for the Crows. Hands to Crouch inside 50. Intercept mark comes from Rampy.
And Mills down back as we expected, with the Swans haven't made the change in the midfield with the temptation there, obviously.
Rampy fans out to his left, targeting McDonald, who leaps, but it's a good spoil. At the front was Jordan for the Swans. Hands to Blakey on his left, chips over the top, and Armadi marks.
50th gamer. Holds it for a moment, now goes with a kick inside forward 50. Numbers down there in defence with the Crows. No one down there, caught up Michael under pressure. Overrun down there by Crouch, picked up by Grundy. Off to Rowbottom for the Swans. He can snap towards goal, goes end over end, clear, he can shepherd it through. First goal to James Rowbottom, and the Swans are on the board inside 45 seconds. It's Sydney 1 straight 6. The Crows yet to score. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Your experts Ty Kennelly and Joel Patfull.
Yeah, off the back of an intercept, Dan Rampy obviously taking the inside shoulder from a clearance where Adelaide were able to get their hands on the Cinnabons clearance and use the ball well. And I just thought the option from Joel Marty wasn't great, but often you get the ball into the forward line early in the game, the defender's not quite set either in the game, and put it in there under pressure, you don't know what happens. And the big fella Brodie Grundy actually crammed it himself. And it was very clean and got the ball to Robottom. I'm not too sure he was having a shot, but I think Caden Cleary was running onto it anyway. But great stuff from the Swans.
Yeah, it's your senior players stepping up early, wasn't it? Rampy, Grundy, Rowbottom getting involved. That's what you need. We talked about the slow start, so you want to get the ball moving forward, create some pressure.
Goulden lining up against Saligo in the middle. Warner missing 1 week. He's on Dawson. Again, neutral tap. Good tackle from Rowbottom. Out of mid-air. Warner missed it. It's edging towards the Swans 50. Warner gets possession in the end. Thinks about a kick. Handballs instead to Armadi. He gives it off to Florent. On the right. Deep to the goal square. Is it a mark for Parker? He drops it. Laird cleans up. Handball to Crouch on his left for Adelaide. They kick it outside 50, but waiting there was Armadi, and he's paid the mark.
He's 65 from goal, sending one out to Goulden. Over Cooks a little bit there. Goulden has to go reach and get it. Leaves it there for Rampy in the end. Fires the hand pass back to James Jordan. Rampy bursts by the defender from 55. Not there. Just swung back in late. A rare Dane Rampy goal in his 248th game. And the Swans are on early. 2 straight 12. The Crows yet to score. 2.5 gone in the opening term. ABC Sport.
Hasn't kicked many, has he, Rams?
It's 1 in 8 years before that.
If you talk about trying to get the team up and about and get some motivation and energy, that's probably the best thing to do, isn't it? Your key defender running off half back. He didn't even look like passing that, did he? Nah. He saw the goals and he pinned the ears back. But good to see as a fellow defender type.
That was a typical Dan Rampy drop hunt. He'd done absolutely everything. You're just looking at the replay of his drop from his hand, but he won't give 2 hoots. He's had 3 disposals and a goal in the first minute and a half.
Ominous start for the Crows. The Swans have 2 goals within 3 minutes here. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Can Crows get the clearance? Saligo to O'Brien on his left. Wobbly kick inside 50. Fist comes from Francis, but it goes straight down to Keys, who has a man open, spots him up, 20 metres out. That is the mark for Thilthorpe. He will shoot for goal on a slight angle, 25 metres. Crows are going to get on the board.
Really sharp entry, wasn't it? You know, they looked really clean and sharp. Melkin was just playing off too much and trying to play in front. Executed the entry really well, Adelaide.
Riley Thilthorpe, who had a knee injury in the pre-season. He's played 6 games so far. He's been in good goal-kicking form. He's kicked 12 in 6, and it is 13 in 7. Tight against that left goal post, but Adelaide are on the board. It is 2 straight 12 to the Swans, 1 straight to the Crows. 4 minutes in Saturday night footy here at the SCG on ABC Sport. Your experts are Joel Patfull and Ty Kennelly.
Yeah, it was a good bit of movement, wasn't it? Good stoppage from the centre and just a contest. Keys always works hard from that stoppage. I think he looks like he might have almost been playing defensively on Blakey, so Blakey just gave him a bit of space there. And Thilthorpe, 1 out in the goal square. He's such a dangerous player, isn't he? He's so big and strong, and he's really kind of straightened up that Crows forward line when he gets into some space.
Curiously, in his 53rd AFL game, that's his first goal against Sydney, Riley Thilthorpe. So one of 2 sides he's yet to get a goal against. He's on the board here. And the Crows do respond.
And he's another one, Nixie obviously would have liked to have played a lot more football underneath him, 5 years, and you're trying to get a player that can play some consistent key forward, can make a big impact for the team.
He began the year in round 18, as Declan said. Clearance from Warner of the Swans. Hurried ball, picked up now by Florent. Gets some pressure though, coming late. Dowling piles in, and we'll ball up. Back edge of the square. Here at the SCG, towards that eastern side. Swans by 6 points. O'Brien wins it down, bustling through a tackle here. Zach Taylor, who was last week's sub. They're working away by hands. Little 1-2 here. Dawson shed it with Nankervis. The captain goes inside forward 50 here. At Thilthorpe leads into the pocket and takes the mark again. This time on the angle, deep at left, full forward.
Well, it's just a bit of good forward craft there. He's dangerous one-on-one, isn't he? He's getting wrapped up a little bit. Melican probably just didn't have the strength to hold him out, but it was a beautiful kick to space and let him work into it.
So the Swans kick the first 2 goals, while Thilthorpe here can kick the next 2, but he misses near side. So 1 goal, 1 for him. And the Crows, they trail the Swans by 5 points. 6 gone opening term. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Meanwhile, the Gabba, Brisbane Lions 2-3-15, Essendon 1-1-7.
Nick Blakey, ball in hand in the goal square. He's looked like walking wounded sometimes this year, but no rest for most of these Swans in the final round. Plays on, couple of bounces, up the wing, Grundy's the target. Standing at the front was O'Brien. He just didn't mark, which gave the Swans a chance. Parker fumbled a couple of times. He was wrapped up on centre wing. They'll have the ball up.
Umpire wastes no time. Grundy and O'Brien wrestle. Grundy wins the hand pass out here to Morgan. All down with Warner, and now Parker got a shove from Keys, but the kick is effective here to Cleary. It's on a half forward. The Swans surging inside 50. Cleary's kick to the lead of McLean, allows it to bounce, and he's reaching for it, but it goes out of bounds for a throw-in at right full forward for the Swans. They lead by 5 points. It's 2 straight plays, 1-1. The Swans and the Crows on ABC Sport on this balmy Saturday evening in Sydney.
You see Parker up around the ball, is that forward now coming up at stoppages also. It's another one for Sydney.
Bit of a wrestle on between the rucks. The footy hits the ground and 3 or 4 pile in. So we'll have another ball up, right forward pocket, Swans end. They lead 12-7. Grundy v O'Brien. Grundy down to Goulden. Oh, that is the favourite sound for Swans fans, especially when Goulden can finish like that on his left. And it is 3 straight to the Swans to 1-1-7 for the Crows. That is good to watch. ABC Sport, Saturday night.
Oh, they've done it all. You do your homework on the opposition, and certainly do your homework on an opposition player. You can't stand on his right side, Errol Goulding. Or if you're going to do it, you've got to work with a teammate that's going to stand on his left foot and he's going to run into him. But there's no body work. Just trail him in at the stoppage itself. You've got Brody, the quality of his tap work. He's always going to put that on the throat of Errol Goulding. They've got a great connection going, these two. Obviously, we saw that against the Collingwood game. But from a homework perspective, early in the game, you've got to be on top of that as a defensive unit from Adelaide.
At 35 touches last time these sides met, back in round 14, Errol Goulden. A good start tonight for him. End of that Brody Grundy tap and a left foot snap. The Swans' 3rd goal. 11 points is their lead. 8.5 gone first term. I was just seeing a warning here for 666. Incorrect restart for the Crows. One down here to Dawson. Plus the tackle of Rowbottom. Rowbottom tries hard here. Hand pass is picked off by Goulden. And he goes inside 50. Amati leads up, tumbles. He is paid the mark. Had enough of it in the contest with Murray. Well, Amati is 55 out, left-hand side of the posts.
He can make the distance. This is where he's most comfortable, actually.
Oh, yeah, he's going back here.
Yeah, anything from 0 to 30, he gets really tight, and he's had a lot of work on it, but he's got a booming leg. No, I've said that in kick at 20.
I mentioned that last time these sides met. 9 goals won at the Oval for Joel Amati. Who connect from 55 here, sets it up here, top of the square. Couple of running starters. McLean wins it down. Grundy breaks the Keys tackle. Hand pass goes sort of nowhere. Cleary paddles it forward here. And Curvis back here for the Crows, and Mitch Henge can clear. It just ricocheted beyond defensive 50. Randy wanted to sit down there on his direct opponent. It's going to be the free kick, which will go the way of Darcy Fogarty, who was dealt with unkindly by Dane Rampy. So Fogarty can clear off left half back.
And balls to Worrell, who was running past. His left foot kick was just a little bit too hot. Goes out of bounds between wing and half forward for the Crows.
What a coach is doing to these players. Yeah, he would have had a ping on his 20th game, no problem. This is what's the impact of 3-4 years in the system. You know, I'll put it at the top of the square. Have a go for it, Joel. It's your 50th.
Ball spun back into play. Grundy had a fresh area, which means it fell to the Crows. Inside 50 is a deep entry. Bounce of the ball goes directly right. Waiting there was Scholl. Has he kicked it? Might have just pushed it across. Minus score to Adelaide. It is 18-8. 10 minutes gone. First quarter here on ABC Sport.
Great pressure from Melican. Never give up on it. Put the pressure under the snap itself.
Blakey, one of 9 Swans, played every game this year. Plays on the left back pocket, drives it long, back to the members' wing. 2-on-2. Amati up in front, leaves it there for McLean. Underground hand pass. Going to connect with Taylor Adams. Overrun by him. McLean's hand pass, though, back to Campbell. Nurses it up the line, but coming late there is Mitch Henge to effect it out of bounds for a throw-in right in front of the Adelaide bench. It's the Swans, 3 straight 18. Adelaide 1-2, 8-11 going first term. ABC Sport, meanwhile, at the Gabba. Midway through the opening quarter there, the Lions lead the Bombers by 7 points. Brisbane need to lock up a home final with a win there. Down it comes. Grundy Looks to find Gordon, tracks it towards the line now, and Warner goes to fend on Berry. Keeps it alive for the Swans, stumps it back down the line towards that 2-on-2 up at half forward. A little too deep over the head of Ball Ace in defence. Mopped up now, it comes to Hinge, and the Crows can go across the defensive goal mouth. Dangerous this time for Nankervis. Florent beats him to it. He has support there. He goes himself here, Florent. In fact, pulls the kick in the end. On the half volley, Parker traps it. Needs a hand pass. Off to McDonald, who snaps his. Kick was smothered. It ricochets down toward the goal and rolls through for a minor score. Sydney 3-1-19. Adelaide 1-2-8. 12 gone first term on ABC Sport.
Showed some plenty of tie there, Oliver Florent, didn't he? You know, normally does finish off those kicks. It's a bit of a gimme for him to miss that, but Parker did very well, actually stay on his feet and not cough it up.
12 minutes into this clash. The Swans 19-8 and led out of the goal square, has his kick smothered, and it falls to Parker. What a play from the youngster, Caden Cleary, who smothered the footy. And it was an easy finish for Parker. Laird will not want to revisit that. Get him to the off-season. It is 25-8, Swans lead here on ABC Sport Saturday night. Joel Patfull, Ty Kennelly. That one will not look good. I was going to say come Monday. Do they come in on Monday when the season's over?
I don't think so, but I don't think they'll put that one in the highlights package for the year. It's almost unforgivable, that, isn't it? Of coming out of a kick in to be smothered. I don't think I've really seen that too many times. So an absolute mare there by Rory Laird, but great pressure by the Swans. It shows their intent today to get forward, put pressure on the ball carrier.
They're going to they're going to be interesting discussion with Cleary. You know, he's that youth and energy and get after it. And there's 11 players here today with over 100 games for Sydney. So you're looking at kids like that, Cleary going, well, he's given them a spark the last 2 weeks.
He's been the sub 3 times. He's debuted in round 15, Caden Cleary. Be a ball up here, attacking side of the wing for the Crows, going towards the round weekend to start here at the SCG. Not a slow start this time for the Sydney Swans. Grundy's hit out here, intercepted by Dowling, down to Berry, pops it inside 50 now for Adelaide, but Cunningham tracks it back with a flight and marks in the left back pocket.
Cunningham's short option is Mills, who is down back. His best return since coming back last week. He was on half back, had 26 touches. Kicks it to Rampy in the right back pocket. So they switch the play. Rampy short. Another mark. Swans slow it down. Francis with the footy. Up that eastern wing. Man, that was too easy. Matt Crouch marks it for Adelaide between wing and half forward. Has ball lays inboard if he wants to open up the 50. Thinks about it twice. Uses his left foot though instead to the lead of Walker. Just over the top of him. One bounce over the boundary line in that left forward pocket. Swans leading by 17 points, 14 minutes in here. Saturday night on ABC Sport.
Not a sellout crowd tonight. Maybe a few of the members just sort of waiting for the finals here, the Swans. Down it comes, McLean to Goulden, quick hands off to Mills. His skipper can tumble it beyond defensive 50. Laird there for the Crows, beaten to it. Adams did well. Goulden bursting by, shares it with Chad Warner. He's got space to bounce. Darts back infield off to Florent. He's on the Oligo, shares it with Campbell. Left it behind here, Campbell. Snaps it forward though. Florent still going 55 out. Got some pressure there from Hugh Bond. And it's a loose footy here picked up by Warner, but will come back for a free kick. I think Florent was legged. So it's going to be a free kick going the Swans' way at right half forward. With Ollie Florent.
Let's see if he has a shot here, Ty. 52 out. What would you say?
Is this where he almost sunk Port Power a couple of years ago after the siren? Very similar. It would kick from 60. Gives it everything. It's right to the line there off Florent's boot, and it may in fact be there.
Didn't think he'd do it.
Where were the Crows defenders? That's carried the line. Ollie Florent has a goal. And the Swans, no worries tonight as far as the slow start is concerned. They're 5-1-31. Adelaide 1-2-8. 16 gone first term on ABC Sport. Your experts, Ty Kennelly and Joel Patfull.
Well, he's got to have a shot there. I mean, you talked about it with Armadi and putting it to the top of the goal square. It's one of those ones where there's still not a great set piece for AFL teams, is there? Amadi put it to the top of the goal square, and it was the Crows' Ruckman O'Brien who it landed on his head. So you're better off having a shot and kicking the goal, but it's always that thing, isn't it? If you have a shot from outside 50 and you miss, it's not the team thing. But more often than not, the players are getting better at executing that 50-metre kick, and I'd be happy to see him back themselves in.
And the quality of a ball user that he is, Oliver Florent, he understands the distance and clearly his capabilities as a footballer. There's one player you'd want the ball in his hands majority of the time in that part of the ground, but from a defensive perspective it was very poor. I'm not too sure where the ruckman was in that instance.
Tap from Phil Thorpe. Comes back to him, so boots it in on his left foot. Leading to the footy was Aaron Francis for the Swans. He dropped it, but waiting at the front was Blakey. So mopped it up. His kick is chopped off, but it'll still work for the Swans. Hands come through Adams, and Blakey is still running. Has a dash, no bounce. Low kick inside 50. Favours the Crows. Couple of defenders there. Olays was amongst it. Got half a handball out. They're outside 50 at the moment, Adelaide. Crouch with the footy, looks behind him and has Dawson. His kick, though, is chopped off by Cunningham. Edge of the centre square. Swans have possession. Marking in the middle of the ground is McLean.
On the bullseye here, McLean has options. Goes short back to Goulden. That's his 6th disposal coming up. Errol Goulden, a goal as well. Call to play on now. Left footer, pops it inside 50. Haywood's lurking at the drop though. It's came to Worrell. Hand pass was chopped off. Campbell spins through it and fires the hand pass back to Parker, who can snap from close range. He has his second. And the Swans are red hot at the SCG on this Saturday night. 6-1-37. They lead the Crows to a 1-2-8. 18 gone, opening term. On ABC Sport, your experts, Swans Premiership player Ty Connelly, former Lion and Giant Joel Patfull.
Again, good pressure. You know, Will Howard, that instance itself when Hinge was coming back with the flight of the ball, actually spoiled to keep the ball alive, but the pressure in that front 50 to actually turn the ball over, sharp hands. I think it was Adams initially and Campbell, but Luke Parker, 2 goals, not bad. It's going to look good in the blue and white next year.
We talked about the Swans.
North Melbourne and Clarko comments on the week.
You reckon he's going? No. Heard it here first.
And that's what he can do, Luke. His forward craft is elite and always was the piece around when he played as a forward. He started playing forward mid to get into the team.
Clearance by Dawson, still inside the centre square. Running past was Berry. Open goal square, he might have a ping. It goes through. Out of nothing, Adelaide respond. They find their second goal. Kicked it from almost inside the centre square. So the Swans 6-1-37. Adelaide hit back after a run of 4 goals for the Swans. 6-1-37 to 2-2-14. Ty Connelly, Joel Patfull, bit of a goal out of nothing there, but they are strong in the clearances, the Crows.
Well, yeah, you're right. It was from centre clearance again. Crows mid just forced the ball forward.
Yeah.
Forward's playing in front. And it does look like there's a bit of space in that Swans defence. They wouldn't be wrapped with those 3 goals, how they've gone through, but it is starting to look like a bit of that games where the Swans are up and about and they're getting ready for finals, whereas the Crows just look 5 to 10% off, and you know they're at the end of a long season, looking towards the end of it.
They just need more centre bounces.
Yeah.
Just get them going, because that's where they're scoring from.
Swans by 23. Restart back in the middle. Crouch was unmanned, got away from Warner. Points his kick towards centre half full. Leading up there is Daniel Curtin. He goes inside forward 50. Phil Thorpe slides into mark. And he's deep in that left forward pocket, 30 metres out.
It's another centre bounce clearance, obviously. Looking very dangerous and loose at the centre bounces. Their movement and obviously their ability to get on the loose ball. Post clearance as well has been very effective.
He missed one from here, probably a little closer, in fact, a short time ago. Riley Thilthorpe already has 1 goal, kicked their first goal tonight. Opens up the angle, brings around with a snap, and again misses near side. So 1 goal, 2 for him. Crows at 2-3-15. Swans at 6-1-37. We've just hit time on here in the first term. Meanwhile, around the grounds at the Gabba, quarter time there, Lions lead Essendon by 12 points. That game available on the ABC Listen app.
Never been a fan of that snapping from further than 30 odd.
Not the Irish style?
Not from 30. Anything more than 30, it's too difficult to snap. It's very rarely executed.
Matty Roberts with the kick out to Campbell, who goes up the line, cleared the pack. For some reason, Riley O'Brien wasn't in the pack. He was at the back, roving. So Adelaide have possession on the wing. Scholl outside of his right foot. It'll take a good mark from Fogarty. I think he might have juggled that over the line. The boundary umpire was blindsided, so they call it a mark inside 50. And coming across the contest was Curtin. Marks right on the paint for the Crows. That right half-forward flank. And he's slowed down too, so he might have a look at goal. No, lowers the eyes. It's a very short kick. A gain of about 1 metre to Nankervis. Slightly better angle, but he'll still have to kick from outside 50. Luke Nankervis. His 20th game this year. His best year in Crows colours. We'll have to travel 55 plus.
Oh, beautiful.
Pretty great connection. And the Crows have a couple in a row. It's a free-flowing game here at the SCG. 6-1-37 to 3-3-21. The Swans lead it. And we are 21 and a half minutes gone. And is that the first goal for Nankervis? Everyone has gone to him.
First guy. Yes. Yep.
There we go. Well done, Luke Nankervis. Maybe that 1 metre gain from Daniel Curtin was a nice little selfless act to end the season.
It's also a piece of probably understanding your teammates and the fact that clearly you knew that he'd make the distance with that option inside. And you know your players, your teammates, when you're spending time with them all day, every day. And back in the day, it was a long time ago now, but anywhere from 50 to 60 out, we'd look for Nick Davis because of his leg. But probably something that has been worked enough on the AFL football. You were talking about that before. The entry kick, or looking for lower options for players that kick from 50.
Swans by 16. Back-to-back Adelaide goals here at the SCG. Swans clearance though. Warner bursts away. 55 out. Pops it inside the arc. And down there in defence, ball ace. Run down there on the McLean tackle is Hugh Bond. The umpire says, give it to me. Ball up. 15 out from the Swans goal. Paddington end. The recover. A bit more breathing space here, the home side. Grundy wins it down. Crouch under pressure. Paddles it toward the line. Rush through. Down there by Michael Annie. So it will be a minor score to the Swans. 6-2-38. Adelaide 3-3-21. 23 gone first term. Saturday night footy, ABC Sport.
Michael Annie out of the goal square to his right. Up the line. Riley O'Brien gets rid of his opponent. It was Braden Campbell. Umpires have found a free kick. Campbell holding the much taller opponent. Riley O'Brien with the footy between wing and his own half-back. Up the line. Melican through with a massive fist. All the way over the boundary line. Gets a few high fives for his troubles. Swans lead by 17.
Big game for him tonight. No Tom McCartan down back, so Lewis Melican's had a great year and he's standing up again tonight.
Yeah, it is. And also Francis down there's got the big matchup. So both, like you said before the game, pressing for that final spot, and if that opportunity does arise.
Back in it comes. Grundy palms it down there for Goulden. Shares it now with Jordan. We're going to come back here for a free kick for a high tackle. Swans ball. Goulden was taken high. On the members' wing of the City Cricket Ground. Swans by 17. Spears the pass to Rowbottom. Fires it back by hand to Goulden. Goes inside forward 50. Ball lays, coughs it up now. Adams. Hand pass off to Water. He eyes them up from 45. It's on its way. Swings back but not enough. He misses the left-hand side. The Chad. The Swans are 6-3-39. Adelaide 3-3-21. 18 minutes. 18 points is the margin. 24 gone first in OC Sport.
Injway snow time. Uses that long left leg. Finds a teammate who spills the mark, but Dowling was there. Cleaned up. Mucking around with it, the Crows. About 70 out from their own goal. Trying to find a way through this Sydney defence. Long kick. It's a 3-on-1 to the red and white. Rampy is the one who picks it up. Runs from the contest. Handball forward to Jordan. Into the middle of the ground. They turn it over in a dangerous spot. Laird with the footy. Still in defensive half. The Crows look out to the right. And Nankervis marks between wing and half-back, and he'll look to come back into Laird.
Fresh off his first AFL goal, Nankervis does find Laird. Short ball down to Soligo. One of their positives this year, Jake Soligo for the Crows.
Great year.
And every game, averaging 22 disposals, and he goes inside 50 here. O'Brien lays off the hand pass to Keys. The vice-captain can close from 45. Nice finish. In fact, the two vice-captains combine. O'Brien back off to Keys. And the Crows keep finding goals. Margin back to 12 points. Adelaide 4-3-27. Sydney 6-3-39. 26 gone to the opening term. ABC Sport, your experts, Ty Kennelly and Joel Patfull.
Is that 3 in a row?
Yep.
I think it is, yeah. Nicely done by the big fella, and some patience from the team itself to play on, look at an opponent, and we talk about outside 50 kick itself, and you don't go back and you just play the game on. It's a natural kick from Keys, and if he's actually got back off the mark there, Riley understood, obviously he was too far out, but nicely done by Adelaide, and they're certainly putting it up to them in the last 5 minutes. And I think the ball movement's been a bit more patient and between the arcs, which has drawn Sydney out a small bit, and a bit more patient with their entry. There's a lot of them kick three in a row.
So we're 26 minutes into the first term. Swans have been slow starters all year. They got a hot start, but Adelaide have come back. Clearance goes the way of Warner. High up and under. That's gone 40 metres up. Parker sits underneath it. And we found a free kick. Everyone looks at each other, which means it mustn't have been that obvious, but Will Hayward is the beneficiary. He will kick for goal from about 42 metres straight in front.
Well, it looks like it's turned into a bit of a shootout, hasn't it? There's a bit of space defensively. Both teams probably looking to score quickly. Probably suits the Crows if it does end up playing a bit like that.
Leading goal kicker for the Swans this year, Will Hayward. He has 38. He's kicking at 75%. This one hangs it out to the right. Minus score, 6-4, 40 to 4-3, 27. The Swans lead it here on ABC Sport.
I hadn't considered he was the leading goal kicker. It just kind of feels like they have contributors all the time, and it's just sort of in the post-Buddy Franklin era on the shoulders of one person. It's not. As the Crows go beyond defensive 50, Dowling marks at left half back. Goes up the Bondi wing of the SCG. It's knocked out of bounds here by Dan Curtin. We'll throw it back in. Attacking side of the wing for the Crows.
Well, Joel Amarty's on 37. Will's got 38. Heaney's 28 goals and McLean 25 and Warner 31. So it's real even, isn't it? Big numbers for. So that's 5-6 players, close to 30 plus.
Swans by 13 here. ABC Sport late in the first term.
Good tap by Grundy. Saligo read it best though for the Crows. He handballs to Crouch up against the boundary line. No room. Goes back. Dowling has the footy. Finds a bit of space, but he kicks it straight to Blakey. Disappointing turnover from the youngster. Blakey, dangerous kick. Across the 50. He had McDonald, but waiting underneath it was Nankervis. Worrell gets the footy wrapped up by McDonald. And we'll have a ball up just outside 50. Blakey, I mean, we know he's chaos, but that was maybe a bit too risky.
Swans keep a 13-point lead here. Ball in the air. One down by Grundy. Warner gets there. Big don't argue on Saligo. Fires the hand pass back to Florent. Under pressure now. Rampy by Keys. And Keys tackles him. The ball jars free for a throw-in.
Deliberate.
No, it's going to be a free kick. Yeah. So deliberate as you say, Ty. Keys wide the pressure. And he's beneficiary here. Pops the Crows inside 50. Leading up again. Strong grab from Phil Thorpe. Positioned himself well in the contest with Melican. He's on the 45-degree angle here, Riley Philthorpe, 25 metres out.
I'm probably a little concerned if I'm in the Swans box right now. I think they start the first 10 minutes, they started well, but there's just a few signs out there that they're not, a few silly decisions. That kick from Blakey, he's not doing that in a big game. They're not quite there tonight.
Game in which the Swans have kicked 6 of the first 7. The Crows lining up here for 4 in a row. Philthorpe approaches, and he makes good for his second. 2 goals, 2 for him so far this evening. Adelaide does close the gap back to a 7-point margin. It's the Swans who are 6-4, 40. Adelaide 5-3, 33. We approach the half-hour mark here on the opening term on ABC Sport. It's Saturday Night Footy. Tyke Nilly, Joel Patfull.
And so efficiency, and sorry, Joel, you go.
Yeah, I was just going to say, they're the things that they're looking for going into finals, that defensive effort, the structures, how they're positioning themselves, and that's kind of where they're falling down. That's the reason I say that about the Swans.
Their efficiency inside 50 to forward 50 for Adelaide, is the worry that it was, like you said. I know the turnover was there from Nick, and he live and die sometimes with Nick the way he does things, but it's probably the turnover piece. They had enough time to cover that. Someone's got to get into that hole. Clearly it's Philthorpe's the one that they're looking for as the forward. The ball's going nowhere else.
He's taken 3 or 4 marks inside 50, Philthorpe. Adelaide might get another clearance here if Saligo can escape the Goulden tackle. Well, it didn't look like he got hands to it. The umpire's happy to let it roll. Rowbottom was taken out. Didn't have the footy. Keys says sorry, so Swans get the free kick. And Rowbottom short to Roberts to his left. He wants to play on. Shoal knew it, held on to him. There's the jeers, but umpire isn't convinced. Roberts short to Mills, who has the footy up against the interchange bench. Slows it down, 30.5 minutes in. Little chip kick inboard. That'll open up more of the ground. Goulden marks on the logo. His left foot, penetrating kick. Melican marks. It's got to be 50. He was pushed by Walker as he marked it. And it will be. So Melican will line up for goal. Let's get a check on him. He hasn't got a goal this year either. He's got one in his career. And he will line up on a slight angle from about 42 metres. Lewis Melican back in this week after some hammy tightness.
You're talking round 16, 2017, Lewis Melican.
Can he break the drought? Lewis Melican from 45 raises his right fist to the air, and he will enjoy that one. And it may as well be his first goal because everyone gets around him. Lewis Melican, the rarest of goals, and a bit of a settler for the Swans. 7-4-46 to 5-3-33. They lead by 13 points here. ABC Sports Saturday Night Footy. Your experts, the first Irishman to win an AFL flag, Ty Kennelly, and a dual BNF, Joel Patfull.
It's good to see a couple of Dower defenders kicking goals, getting forward. I know you probably kicked a few more goals than me, Ty, but good to see that.
It wasn't Dower. So.
Yeah, good to see they've still got some skills. But Taylor Walker, probably just a bit overzealous there, trying to make an impact. Hasn't touched the footy yet, so it's probably trying to assert some authority and be physical, but just got a bit too carried away.
He kicked a goal against Gold Coast in his 10th career game in 2017. So that's been a long time between drinks or goals for Lewis Melican. From the restart, they're all scrambling for it. One of his kick goes into the back of Nankervis. Bounce back here for his teammate Cunningham. The Swans go forward of halfway. Reaching up there in defence. Hinge. Laird slips the Hayward tackle. Shares it back with Borlase. And he's off a standing start. Happy to clear back to the outer wing. Numbers around it here. Saligo shares it again with Laird. Sweeping hand pass forward to Keys. And now again the skipper, Dawson, the former Swan, goes up the line to find Walker. The veteran mark, 65 from goal. Reels and goes. Now his kick was a little deep. Thorpe was waiting for it, but Melican is happy to score it out of bounds for a throw-in. So a stoppage inside 50 at the round weekend for the Crows, who trailed by 13 points, 33 gone in the opening term on ABC Sport.
Hen's teeth tonight. Rampy, his first goal in a very long time, and Melican as well, his second. Few surprises. Ball's thrown in. Grundy picks it out of the ruck. Clearance. Just gets outside 50 and Parker collects it. He similarly throws it on the boot without much regard for where it goes, just gaining territory. Crows are waiting for it on the wing. They've got time. Michael Laney lowers the eyes and finds O'Brien in the middle of the SCG. Can go left or right. Goes straight down the middle. And a mark for the Crows on the edge of the centre square. Deep to the right flank. Bit of a push on Francis. Is umpire going to pay the mark? Walker took the mark. And he says he's okay with it. So Tex Walker will line up on the 45-degree angle from about 30 metres.
Right, we've got lots of problems there. You know, it's the 8th mark, I think, for Adelaide inside their forward 50. And you're looking at, generally from a numbers perspective for the listeners, it's 12 marks a game inside your D50 is an okay game. To have 8.25 for the opposition forward line is a huge worry from Sydney's perspective.
He's the Crows' all-time leading goal kicker. 8 times he's won it in the Crows, and he gets them a bit closer here in the shadows of quarter time. So just his second touch, but he registers a goal, and all of a sudden it is a 7-point ball game. 7-4-46 to 6-3-39. The Swans leading here at the SCG, but Crows are not going anywhere. Ty Kennelly, Joel Patfull.
Again, good patience, wasn't it, from the kicker? To actually wait for it and wait for that 1v1 option. And clearly, opposition teams are going to be looking at this as far as how you're going to play Sydney in the D50, Joel.
Yeah, it's what they're doing well. They're isolating those key defenders, aren't they? So it's Phil Thorpe and Walker on that occasion. They're getting those one-on-ones, and they're such strong one-on-one players that if you give them the opportunity, more than likely they're going to take the mark. Like you said, 8 marks inside 50 from 16 inside 50s in this first quarter is a huge number.
13 goals is a huge number. Seems modern footy for a first quarter. One quarter so far. Grundy takes on O'Brien. Berry's there, and he's hit the deck, and a bit of a bump and tackle down there from Brodie Grundy on the follow-up. Hands it back to the umpire. Approaching quarter time here at the SCG. Swans by 7 points. One down to the outside. Roberts wrapped up by Dawson. Again, the umpire says, give it to me.
It's been a goal fest. 13 goals. 35 minutes this first quarter has gone. Still inside the centre square. Grundy again tries the clearance. Follows up the tackle on Berry. I think it was too high. So Adelaide might get another chance at a goal. Berry with the footy. 2 kicks from home. Fans out to his right. Low entry, big pack of players. Francis was waiting at the back, and that's where it came. He handballs to his right to Lloyd. Had a quiet first term. Lloyd exits 50, and a great grab, and one that was needed by Hayward. Although the umpire says play on, so a touch in there. He was tackled straight away. We'll have a ball up about 60 metres out from the Swans' defensive goal.
Up it goes. O'Brien reaching for it. First hands to it. Jordan for the Swans. He's wrapped up right on the quarter time siren. A shootout at the SCG. 7 points is the margin. The Swans 7-4-46. The Crows 6-3-39. Firstly for the home side. Goals, it's 2 to Luke Parker. Singles to Rowbottom, Florent, Goulden, and the very unlikely Dane Rampy and Lewis Melican. The only 2 remaining guys from their regular lineup that hadn't kicked goals this year. So I don't think it was deliberate, but it was certainly a highlight for those 2 players and their teammates. Meanwhile, for the Crows, Phil Thorpe has 2 singles to Keys, Berry, Walker and Nankervis, also on the board for the Adelaide Crows. On ABC Radio, News Radio, and of course the ABC Listen app. This is Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
Hello, Anne Jones here. Ever feel like your brain needs a boost? Well, the ABC Listen app has all the podcasts. Explore the mysteries of nature with What the Duck.
I'm recording you.
Get up to speed with Quick Smart.
More recently in Australia, there's been a charged political discussion about nuclear.
Or get a tech upgrade with Download This Show.
Cameras collecting it and rebroadcasting it. It's sort of like the...
Load up a podcast and learn something new with the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Off to Rowbottom for the Swans. He can snap towards goal. Goes end over end. Clear. He can shepherd it through. First goal to James Rowbottom, and the Swans are on the board. Finds the hand pass back to James Jordan. Rampy burst by the defender from 55. Goal there. Just swung back in late. A rare Dane Rampy goal.
This comes from Francis, but it goes straight down to Keys, who has a man open, spots him up 20 metres out. That is the mark for Phil Thorpe. Played 6 games so far. He's been in good goal-kicking form. He's kicked 12 in 6, and it is 13 in 7. Tight against that left goal post, but Adelaide are on the board. 12 minutes into this clash. The Swans 19-8, and Laird out of the goal square, has his kick smothered, and it falls to Parker. What a play from the youngster, Caden Cleary, who smothered the footy, and it was an easy finish for Parker. Laird will not want to revisit that.
Came to Worrell, the hand pass was chopped off. Campbell spins through it and fires the hand pass back to Parker, who can snap from close range. He has his second, and the Swans are red hot.
Clearance by Dawson, still inside the centre square, running past was Berry. Open goal square, he might have a ping. It goes through. Out of nothing, Adelaide responds.
Side 50 here, O'Brien lays off the hand pass to Keys. The vice-captain can close from 45. Nice finish. And the Crows keep finding goals.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Yeah, the Swans with 6 of the first 7 goals in the game. And since then, end-to-end stuff. It was at one stage 29 points in the home side's favour. Now just 7 points at the first change here on ABC Sport. You're with Brett Sprigg alongside Declan Byrne. Poppy Penny on the boundary. Your experts, Ty Kennelly and Joel Patfull. Meanwhile, at the Gabba, you can find full commentary of this game on the ABC Listen app. Just look for the ABC AFL button. It's Brisbane 5-6-36, leading Essendon 1-5-11 midway through the second quarter there. So the Lions by 26 points at the Gabba. Your 2 Saturday night games here on ABC Sport. Swans by 7 points here. Ty, Joel, your thoughts on the opening half hour or so at the SCG?
Well, Sydney certainly addressed the first 10 minutes of their poor starts in the first quarter, and they floated the blocks and kicked the first few goals of the game, and looked like it was going to be an easy enough night for them. But there's nothing easy in this competition, is there? And then Adelaide got hold of the game a small bit, certainly got hold of the Swans defence on the back of some strong centre clearance work, where they scored some back-to-back goals from centre clearances and their ability to get their hands on the ball around the middle. But I've been very impressed with their ability to be patient in the front half of the ground and isolate that 1v1, which is an issue for Sydney. Adelaide 8 inside forward 50 marks, which is a big concern for Sydney. Sydney play fast, they look better. They look fast, the game gone fast on those 2 goals from Rampy and Melican, which are a big surprise, obviously, not the traditional route to goal. There's been a bit of a difference.
Yeah, well, I don't think they'd be happy with the way they finished that quarter, the Swans, especially like we talked about, that defensive pressures. 10 tackles for the quarter as a team is super low, so they'll be looking to improve that. And the way the Crows are scoring, like you said, they've been very calculated, but also isolating those key forwards and giving a contest. So, and that's probably what we'd expect from the Crows in this. They've got nothing to lose, so they're just going for it. They're running off, creating opportunities, and they're going to score as many points as they can. It's up to the Swans whether they can get that defensive zone in place, start closing those gaps a little bit. And they're probably looking for those half-backs to zone off a little bit and help out those keys when they're coming into those long balls inside 50.
And the longer you keep a team that's not playing finals in the last game of the year, the more dangerous it is for you, because they'll get that sniff and hope, and that's what Adelaide have now. Sydney had the game set up for an easy night when they actually kicked 4 goals and they were out and running and off, and they've left Adelaide back into the game. And whether it's at the lapse of concentration or whether it's their ability for Adelaide to win their hands on the ball, around the ball, the numbers are very even, bar the marks inside 50. The numbers itself are extremely even from a clearance win and contested possession piece around the ball. So Adelaide are always going to get looks at it.
You're right. It did feel like at the 10-minute mark, it could have been a blowout to the Swans, because they were up and about. They'd kicked the first 4 of the first 5 goals, but to the Crows' credit, they turned it around, they got the ball back, and they got the game back on their terms, and now they're in with a sniff.
Got a few texts here. 0437 774 774. Mark at Southwest Rocks. Hopefully Mr. Keneally will stop bagging young Lewis Melican now. Go Bloods. Another one here. Scott from Penrith says, "Hi team, I'm really enjoying the Swans and Crows game this evening, and the coverage is amazing. Could you please advise what happens now after round 24 in the AFL? This is the first time I've listened to the back end of the AFL competition, and I wasn't sure what happens next game in the finals. Thanks team." It's a bye next week for the men. It's the AFLW round 1, which is fantastic, but it's a pre-finals bye. Everyone freshens up, and then the Western Bulldogs and Hawthorn get to really be in the premiership fight, despite the early work done by City and the rest. Second term underway here at the SCG. Swans by 7 points. Warner bustles his way past Crouch, goes inside 50 in no time. Amani reaching down, takes the mark. That's a clearance inside 11 seconds from the Sydney Swans. The ideal start to the second term.
What a bull, absolute bull. That power that Warner has on a loose ball, he's so quick, and it's his ability to break a tackle and then obviously clearly use it with an entry. It's clearly one of the top players in the competition doing it.
He had that minor calf issue last week. He's going to tune things up, of course, with the finals in a couple of weeks' time. Here's Joel Amati, meanwhile, in his 50th game. He lines them up with a set shot and opens his account tonight. Swans move to 8-4-52. The Crows 6-3-39. 13 points is Sydney's lead in the early stages of the second term on ABC Sport.
Yeah, good finish by Amati. Once again, great bit of body work inside 50, but like you said, Ty, Warner out of the middle, and he looks like that's a bit of a focus tonight to when he gets the ball to run and carry. He hasn't been as damaging as he was earlier in the year with that run. He was really breaking the lines, and it looks like that's a focus for him tonight. He's seen a few times he's broken tackles, taken 5 or 6 steps, and then hit that forward inside 50. It's just so damaging when he's able to do that.
When you've got teammates around you, it's going to protect you, give you a great license to actually go after the ball. And that instance was Rowbottom, and often throughout the first quarter was Roberts around the stoppage. It would slip in behind him, actually protect him, to allow Warner to actually go aggressively forward.
Tap from Riley O'Brien out of the middle towards his attacking goal, but Goulden was waiting there. He handballed it forward, then Grundy off the ground. Marty, a couple of touches in a couple of minutes, but turns it over. Laird back to Hinge on his left foot to Dawson, who marks between wing and half back. On that eastern side, he waits and waits. The ex-Swan, the reigning BNF, turns it over. Nick Blakey marks it. Defensive side of halfway for the Swans.
Blakey holds it for a moment. Just a few options and just drives it back down the line towards half forward for the Swans. Dawson back with the flight courageously, spoils out of bounds for a throw-in.
And that's the piece for the intercept, Sydney be looking for. Blakey obviously saw the 1v1 and came off as a high half back, and you try and prepare the back unit with Blakey, the one in front of the big 3 keys, to allow him to drop off, which gets a small half back up onto Blakey's man. Sydney will look to rectify in the second quarter.
The unmistakable voice of Taikanelli on ABC Sport. Through traffic, Jake Lloyd. Sweeping hand pass wide, and now Amati is run down there by Murray. Loose footy gathered by Berry, but it's going to come back here for a throw. Incorrect disposal from Joel Amati, and it will be with his tackler Murray at right half back for the Crows.
Murray might be a bit nervous. Amati didn't kick a goal in the first quarter in round 14, and then he kicked 9. He's kicked the first of this second term. Set to maybe get hot again, Amati. Turnover from Adelaide. Amati sprints at the footy. It skittles both him and Murray. Just stays in. Goulden has it. His handball hits Crouch. He's tackled. Given a long time to get rid of it. Handball. Kick comes out. And we're out in the full. Down to Poppy Penny on the boundary.
Just really interesting at quarter time there. Jordan Dawson kept the Crows in that huddle a lot longer after the coaches had left and was really energised after the back end of that first quarter.
So don't even think about rolling up these fans, lads, will you? All right? We're past that. 13 points to the Swans lead here as their captain Mills puts them inside 50. But again, Dawson tracks back with a spoil. And that's another throw in inside 50 for the Sydney Swans. Foregone second term here on ABC Sport. It's not a full crowd tonight, this Saturday evening.
It was a ripping day in Sydney, weather-wise. It's the first change in winter.
Still at the beach. Down it comes. Dan Curvis reaching for it, dowling the hand pass back to Laird. The Crows can clear.
Gets it up to a contest. 2-on-2. Melican had a couple of goes at it. Couldn't end up with the cherry. Tackle wraps up Fogarty. It was Lloyd who did the tackling. Will have a ball up. Still between wing and half forward for the Swans.
I wasn't going to say beach, Ricky. I was going to say the pub.
You can see the beach from your joint anyway. You don't really care.
Which joint?
Messi out of this clearance. Rowbottom, though, gives it to Goulden. His kick is chopped off by Dawson. A couple little turnovers. Crouch down the wing. Melican in a one-on-one. He's having a good game. Another fist over the boundary line. On that eastern wing. Back in this week.
Yeah, it is a big decision. Sorry, it is a big decision with Francis and Melican, and obviously McCartan coming back in and they're not playing so well as a back unit. And kid, there's a position there for one of the two.
It will be a curiosity come the first week of the finals. Their home qualifying final, the minor premiers. Goulden's hand pass out wide here. McLean takes on ball ace, drops the footy, gathered here by Murphy of the Crows. Wide back to the wing for Nankervis. It's going to be out of bounds for a throw in before all of that. Murphy's hand pass was that last action. So 6 go on second term. Swans lead here by 13 points on ABC Sport. Meanwhile, at the Gabba, approaching halftime there, the Lions have kicked away to Adelaide Essendon by 32 points. So a home final looks assured for them.
Where's this goal fest gone, you might be asking? We had 13 in the first quarter. Ball's thrown in, free kick found straight away against Goulden. Crows have it. Inboard kick to Laird. His handball to Nankervis, who had a bit of a look, dropped the ball, was maybe lucky that he did. He was wrapped up straight away in a tackle. Ball up, edge of the centre square, just in the Swans' defensive side of halfway. Tap goes towards that side. Berry, good pick up. 1-2 to Crouch, to Riley O'Brien, who kicks inside 50. It's a shocking kick. And the Swans will break out of half-back through Cunningham.
Cunningham's kick just squibs out towards half-back. Adams back to Warner. He's goal side 55 out. Pops it inside 50 again. Parker's waiting back there. Juggles the grab. Controls it in the right forward pocket. He's no more than 30 out.
That's when they're dangerous, aren't they? When they get it into open space.
Yep.
And Warner's getting a lot of space, isn't he? I think it's Salino that's going with him. Saligo is going with him, but just getting him on the outside. Too much speed. Once again, using it inside 50.
It's kind of like an old-fashioned full forward here, Luke Parker. Just sort of getting a few of those scraps inside 50. He's kicked 2 goals so far tonight, though. He does have impact wherever he plays, and he makes good with a set shot here. Straight over the goal umpire's hat. 3 goals in the first half for Luke Parker, and the Swans have some breathing space again. They're 9-4-58. The Crows 6-3-39. So the home side has the first couple of majors of their second term. 8 gone in this second quarter on ABC Sport. Taikanelli, Joel Patfull.
I'll tell you, if there is anyone in the team you'd want to have a set shot from inside 50, from Sydney perspective, it is the man who just kicked it. Luke Parker's a dead eye and loves the responsibility, and he was going to have a big impact with this team in the forward half of Sydney in the finals, because you can only cover so many, and he's got such experience.
And it's only his 7th game back this year.
And there's obviously everything that happened with the suspension and, the injury. It's he's fresh and he's very dangerous. He'll be sniffing certainly a premiership, and at that age, and you're looking at, he's all in the next month of football, Luke.
And he's in the middle now. Good tap though from O'Brien to Saligo. Kick off the right side of his boot. Favoured Cunningham, who marks for the Swans just to the left of the point of the square, and he goes further left. Lloyd, touch number 4. Looks back inside to O'Cunningham. He's going to retreat all the way back to Mills. Has Aaron Francis on the other side of the ground. So they switch at the Swans. He marks on the logo on the paint. Up the line. Bounces in front of Campbell. He has Florent. It's a bit easy for the Swans at the moment. Florent, although, takes on one. Tackle didn't stick. Handball to Cleary. Back to Florent. He's edging towards 50. Instead goes central. Parker marks. Dishes off to Goulden. On the lead is McLean. Marks at 45 metres out. And they doing it with ease just there, the Swans.
Yeah, too much space through that midfield. And they're too good, aren't they, Goulden, Parker? If you give him that space, give Goulden time on his left foot, he's going to hit that target inside 50 every day of the week.
Haven't seen much of Hayden tonight, so he'll be looking to get on the board a bit as well as a forward.
He's having a career best year, Hayden McLean. 25 goals, most games he's ever played. From just inside 50, it's tight, but it is good. So the Swans have the first 3 goals of the second quarter. It is 10-4-64 to 6-3-39. Really strong start. SCG, ABC Sport, your experts are Ty Kennelly and Joel Patfull have come out and done exactly what I'm sure they were told to do.
Yeah, they screwed the nuts around the stoppages itself. We clearly see the first 5 minutes of the quarter was a repeat stoppage. The messaging would have been, let's tighten it up around the centre clearance and the stoppage work itself and the midfield coaches. Let's tighten this up. It's not right. The game was too open, and Sydney really screwed the nuts around the stoppage piece and tightened it right up. And then once it gets out and open play from there, there's dangerous. Any team in the competition, clearly they can score at ease from it.
He was goalless against Essendon last week. Hayden McLean on the board here tonight. Zach and Byrne said the Swans were the first 3 of the second quarter. 11 goals second term on ABC Sport. Back in the middle, McLean competes in the ruck against O'Brien. Berry overruns it now. Danger here. Adams goes with him as now Campbell is brought to ground in the Berry tackle. The umpire balled up. Our man Scott from Penrith asked what happens next week, apart from no men's footy. They have the awards nights as well, of course. There's the All-Australian Awards, there's the Players MVP, which that's all part of the fun next week. Come back here for an Adelaide free kick in the hands of Lachie Scholl.
Lachie Scholl also having his best year. The 24-year-old just sits and waits. Thought about going backwards. Instead, he pulls the trigger. Last game of the year, why not? Advancing was O'Brien, spilt it. Comes to the front. Saligo lost his footing and lost the footy, so Swans might come straight through the middle. Parker hands to Goulden, to a running Roberts on his left foot. Just a little chip kick inside 50. McDonald lost it for a second as it came across his shoulder, but he took the mark. 40 metres out, quickly down to Poppy Penny on the boundary.
Jordan Dawson's been in discussions with the doctors and the physios, and he's got quite a lot of strapping now on that right calf, and it just looks like he's taken a couple of painkillers from the doc as well, but he is set to come back on by the looks of things.
Logan McDonald lines up for the goal. He's played 11.5 minutes in the second term. He's yet to get on the board, but this would equal his career best year if he can do it. This would take him to 32 goals, exactly the same as 2023. From 44 metres, slide angle. Swans have 4 now to start the second term. Maybe, just maybe, it was a quarter of effort from Adelaide, and now the Swans know that if they can push through, this might be a bit of a demolition. They've kicked the first 4 of the second quarter. It's 11-4-70, 6-3-39, right here on ABC Sport.
Well, they're starting to line up a bit, the big tools, aren't they? They want to get a bit of confidence going into the finals. McDonald, McLean, Armadi, all kicking goals. So, perfect opportunity just to fine-tune the skills if the game keeps going that way. But too much space through the midfield. They've been able to open them up through the midfield. Those mids are getting to work, like you said, Ty, and they're just too dangerous with time and space to hit those targets inside 50, and they've knuckled down defensively. The Crows actually haven't been able to get their hands on the ball to get it going forward.
It's a new game-high lead, 31 points the Swans' way. Restart back in the middle. Grundy wins it down. Warner reads it. Keys gets there first for the Crows. Hand pass off to his captain and Dawson. Wide from Saligo out to Scholl. Almost run down from behind by Robert. He goes inside forward to 50. Scholl out of the contest where a free kick has been paid for a hold. And will go the way of Lewis Melican for the Swans. So they've got possession here in the right back pocket and a 31-point lead in their keeping. 13 going second quarter. Melican called to play on. Drives it long back to the members' wing. They're in that 2-on-2. Grundy, second bite, pulls in the grab.
It's taken to ground by Phil Thorpe. The crowd appeal for a free kick. It is not given. So Grundy gets up and he's facing back, so he decides to kick it back to Blakey. 70 metres out from his own goal. Has the lead of Cleary, who got great separation on Laird. The youngster in just his fourth game, just his second game without a sub-involvement as of yet, takes the mark on the logo. Drafted this year, that is not his best kick. Turns it over to Saligo. Crows have it in the middle of the ground.
They're away off half-back here as Worrell fires the hand pass wide in some space. Then Curvis, kick comes inboard now. Dropped out there by Hinge. He was trying hard, and now for the Swans, McDonald. He goes back down the line inside 50. Warner in the contest with ball ace. The loose man is Haywood. Hails it to his own advantage now. Follows up Haywood. He just again dribbles the kick inside 50. Picked up by Nankervis for the Crows. They can try again off half back as it's Dowling who marks on the outer point of the square.
Dowling, who played 8 games in a row before being sent back to the Sandful, had 30 touches there last week, and he's back in this week. Crows chip it around. Michael Annie finds Hinge on the 50-metre paint. Looks to his left. Phil Thorpe, who's gone down back for a little bit in this second quarter. Long down the wing. Blakey comes late on Taylor and infringed. So free kick to the Crows on centre wing. It'll go to Zach Taylor. Kick in board without wasting a moment is to Laird. Inside 50. Ball will land 25 out. Grundy with the spoil. Roberts cleaned it up. Swans tap it around. Find a kick outside 50. It goes to grass. So the Crows have it with Borlase. Handballs to Berry on his right foot. Looks around, has Ben Keys all on his own. So hits him up 48 metres out on a pretty slight angle. And he points to the goals. And he'll take his mouth guard out and have a shot.
Sydney have done that a lot better with the drop-off and support. In that instance was Grundy. We've seen a couple of times now Blakey. They had 8 marks against him at the first quarter, and clearly you can see the coaching at quarter time to get the support in the air, and they've done it a lot better.
Swans have kicked 4 goals in a row to start the quarter. For Adelaide to get going in this second term, it is across the face. Minor score for Ben Keys, 11-4-70, plays 6-4-40. It's a 30-point ball game. Swans are up 16 minutes in here on ABC Sport.
Meanwhile, half-time at the Gabba, Brisbane leads Essendon by 28 points. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Of course, full coverage available on the ABC Listen app for the ABC AFL button. Blakey off to Roberts, who can thump it down the line here for the Swans. Spills it here into the path of Crouch. The Crows off half-back. Tackles on Robert, and there was without the football, so it's going to be a free kick going Adelaide's way. Advantage paid here as Worrell sends them forward inside 50. Drop down there in the forward line by Dawson. It's a scrap here for Fogarty. He evades Grundy. He can snap on the left, Darcy Fogarty, and it's hit the behind post on the full. So no change to score. Swans lead here by 30 points. 11-4 plays 6-4. 17 go on second quarter on ABC Sport.
Melican has it. Back left pocket. Really short to Lloyd. He has 6 disposals now. Waits and waits. Long down the line is the option. The tools are there, and one of them is McLean. Ambled through past a couple and took a good mark. Now the Swans can break. McDonald was first to go, and it was a brilliant kick from McLean to his advantage. He marks 55 metres out. Logan McDonald, who has 1 for the term already, just waits for an option he likes. Spins the ball in his hands. He might think about it. Running to Past him on his left is Cunningham, who's still asking for it. Only a couple of metres closer though, so Logan McDonald might just line up for goal. No, short kick just inside 50. That is a poor decision. Turns it over. Marking it is Murphy for the Crows.
Lockie Murphy, short chip here. Just a patient build here for the Crows off half-back. Hinge back to Laird. And Laird will control inside defensive 50. 30 points is the Swans buffer here. And the Crows again just chipping it around. Away it comes from Worrell with that shooter's sleeve on his left arm. That's the hand pass back again here, Worrell. Kick to find Nankervis. Defensive side of the wing, the members' side of the SCG. 18 going second term. This has not had the same sort of action as the first quarter. The shootout at the SCG as Nankervis drives it long. Up to the wing. Reaching from behind. Rampy on Phil Thorpe. Ricochets out deep, back to the centre circles. Laird hand pass picked off here by the Swans and Lloyd. Angled kick goes down the line here to find the clean. He's 70 from goal. Lays off the hand pass. Warner bursts by. Has a bounce. Eyes the goals and can dribble it through. He saw the opportunity. Doesn't need much, Chad Warner. And he's on the board as well. Swans are out by 36. 12-4-76, the Crows 6-4-40, 19 going second quarter. ABC Sport, Ty Kennelly, Joel Patfull.
Well, it's still a shootout for the Swans, not for the Crows. So they're explosive when they turn it over. They've upped their defensive game. They've slowed the Swans down and forcing them to kick long to a contest. And once they turn it over, the Crows just don't really have an answer, do they? They can't close that space. Warner once again getting on the outside, too much space inside 50, but they're definitely looking dangerous for that movement going forward, aren't they?
And they were queuing up in that instance for the handball receive, so it's not just Chad himself who's having a cracking game, but there's numerous players running by, so they're running top of the ground now, Sydney.
Chad Warner, 13 touches, a goal, 4 clearances as well. Just showed such speed to break lines there. Grundy down to Parker, who's in the middle. Kicks inside 50. At the front was McDonald. Just spilt it. Contest between wing and half-back, and Braden Campbell, one out. He just returns straight back inside 50. Armadi in a one-on-one, had to be held, and the umpire has seen it. That was pretty blatant, and it'll give Joel Armadi his second shot at goal in this quarter. And Murray appeals, but it looks pretty obvious from this angle at least.
They were both at it, and I've seen ones called the other way. You know, it's kind of when I'm almost at the piece where they're both at it like that, you just let it go, because they were both having a go, and it was the battle of the strength in the end.
In his 50th game, Joel Armadi has his second of the quarter, and the Swans have kicked 6 unanswered goals to open this second term. They have blown the game right open. 42-point lead. It's the biggest of the game so far. Joel Armadi has 2. The Swans are 13-4, 82 to 6-4-40. Saturday night footy here on ABC Sport. The Swans will finish first at this rate. Your experts, Joel Patfull, Ty Kennelly.
Yeah, a little bit unlucky, I would have thought, as a key defender, but it just shows the strength of Armadi. And once you get into those, putting him in a dangerous position, top of the goal square, the defender's always under pressure when it's one-on-one like that. Got a little bit desperate, and the tiny tug of the jumper is probably all the umpire needs to see sometimes. But Armadi looking dangerous, as are all the Swans' tools at the moment.
And on slow play exits, I've loved watching Sydney. They're pairing up their toes on every exit on the wing. They're actually any part of the ground. They're actually standing beside each other, and it's a different tactic than I've seen. We're actually 2 pair of toes working together.
6 unanswered goals in this second term so far. Swans with the clearance. We're looking for goal number 7. Grundy. Is it down here into the path of Keys? Don't argue on Warner. It's going to come back here though for the Swans free kick. Grundy was being held by O'Brien. Attacking side of the bullseye. And now under time here in the second quarter. Grundy, every game this year for his new club. Down the corridor he goes as it's rolled off the knuckles of Michael Laney and through for a minor score. Swans 13-6, McLean 583, Adelaide 6-4-40.
Sometimes with those contests that Armadi got the free kick, I feel like it's first to get your hands out and show the umpire. Maybe that's what he did. Bit of craft there. Murray for the Crows is in the goal square. Kicks it long down the wing. Grundy has a juggle, spills it in the end. Jordan picks it up. Good smother from Saligo. Warner, though, finds a bit of space. Steps 1 and 2. Handballs high to Campbell. He tries to tap it in the direction of Grundy. It's still up for grabs here on centre wing. No one getting a clear kick until Curtin does for the Crows. 1-on-1 inside 50. It falls that way. And just jumping around his opponent. A great read and mark from Cunningham.
He's too strong that time for Hugh Bond. Swans with it by hand and now by foot off half back. It's with the skipper Mills. Draws the player. Hand pass off here towards Roberts. Almost runs into trouble. He kicks across his body now. Makes some work out there on the outer wing for Adams, who does get the better of Mike Laney in the contest. Swans with numbers though around the football. Again, this time Cleary leads up, spills the grab, goes inside 50. It falls for Amadi, off to Haywood, all by himself. He can straighten up here with a snap. Back to the top of the square, but it's all Crows jumpers. Dawson spills the mark. Under pressure is Scholl. Jordan almost gets there, James Jordan. And it's rushed through for a minor score. So the Crows showing more defensive lapses as Sydney grows their lead by just 1 point. 44 points it is. 13-6 plays 6-4. 24 go on second term ABC Sport.
Yeah, uncharacteristically, get it out, Tyke, from Jordan. Yeah, he's clearly a strong player under a high ball, but looking tired and fatigued. Maybe that calf is at him pretty bad.
Murray on kick-out duty again. Goes to that same western wing. Crows this time a bit more cleaner. Comes through Thilthorpe to Bond. Handballs wide to Scholl. But his kick hits up Roberts, who just spills it, but has enough time and space to gather. Turns it over, though, on the logo. Rowbottom with a strong tackle. And it will be wrapped up between wing and half forward for the Crows. It'll be bounced. It'll be balled up just to the left of the logo. Swans lead by 44.
O'Brien coming up down there with McLean. Crows have numbers though. Crouch from the stoppage to Dawson. His firing kick inside 50 is only there for Milliken, who can fist it out of bounds for a throw-in. Off the SMS, Bill simply says, Crows are lamentable. Are they stay in the year again? Yeah, well, they did lose their first 4 games and 5 of the first 6 early on the Crows. Down it comes. Roberts for the Swans, and James Jordan is hustled towards the boundary line by Jordan Dawson. There's been a tongue twister. A lot of first names in there. James Jordan and Jordan Dawson. 44 points is the Swans lead. 25 go on second term. Help me out here, Declan.
Well, Michael only has 3, which is probably leading the pack. It's inside 50 for the Crows. Rowbottom with the shark, though. Half a kick. It does exit 50. Waiting there is Murray. Handball comes. Inside 50. Deep. 1-on-1. Thilthorpe's the man they're targeting. Big fist comes through. Keys is there, though, in the left forward pocket. He does that old shoulder raise to try get the free kick. The umpire is not having a bar of it. So we'll have a ball up in the left forward pocket for the Crows. They haven't got a goal this quarter. The Swans have 6. Rucks to battle. Comes down to Goulden, who kicks a blind kick across the 50. Didn't know what he was going to. Ends up hitting the deck. Mills was first there. He handballs as he's tackled. Adams will happily run it across the line. But the umpire's found a free kick. I think it is against Adams for that handball, and it'll go to Zach Taylor, who wastes no time. He could have had a shot for goal. Instead, spots up Dowling. Marks 48 metres out for the Crows.
It's a bit hard to see from here with a free kick itself. With Adams in that instance.
Billy Dowling, who played 8 in a row. He had to wait a little while for his debut, but once he got in, he showed plenty. Kicked 4 goals in his 8 games, playing between wing and half forward. Can the Crows get going in the second quarter? Swans have kicked 6. Dowling pushes it way across the face, and it just sneaks through for a point. So that lead is 43. 26 and a half minutes into this second term on ABC Sport.
Yeah, 6 goals, 2 to just 2 behinds in this second quarter so far. Swans in control as Lloyd marks in front of the old grandstands here at the SCG. The veteran defender, Jake Lloyd, to a pack. Amadi taps it down here. I thought that was Cleary. We'll hand it back to the umpire. Hammered up down there with Rory Laird. Umpire chucks it in the air. O'Brien down to Crouch. Murphy onto Berry. He went without the football as now Bond is brought to ground. The umpire ball up again. Members wing of the SCG. It's the Swans who lead the Crows here by 43 points as we approach half-time.
O'Brien, brilliant tap down. He leads hit-outs in the comp, but went to Crouch, who was spun around twice in the tackle. The umpire gave him a fair bit of time, eventually got half a kick away, and Florent picked it up just inside the boundary line. He was tackled over it. Looked a little bit ginger getting up, but the ball will be thrown in next to the Swans interchange bench. They lead by 43. McLean and O'Brien lock horns. O'Brien, another hit out. Mills went to go get it. The kick came from Berry. That in danger rule has been relaxed over the last few years, but kick straight out, even though it rolled out and even though it was under so much pressure, the umpire says insufficient. So Errol Goulden will take the kick on his defensive side of halfway.
Goulden, reigning best and fairest and All-Australian last year as well. Kicks the members' logo. Roberts runs onto it now. Has options upfield. Shares it with Adams as Walker stands the mark. Adams goes across the ground here for Logan McDonald on the Adelaide logo this time. 43 points to Swans lead here. McDonald's kick wide to Blakey. Content to chip it around here a bit, the Swans. No real urgency in this game. Blakey back to McDonald. Can't seem to thrust their way forward on this occasion. The Crows just pinning them back in the defensive half. McDonald's kick. The distance down the line, and Marty leads up. An effective spoil from behind though by Murray, and now Roberts runs it out of bounds for a throw-in front of the O'Reilly stand at the SCG. 13-6 plays 6-5 as we approach the half-hour mark of this second quarter. This is ABC Sport Saturday Night Footy.
That little patch really did feel like practice match and readying themselves for finals. If they have a lead at any point, to slow it down. Logan McDonald, the man they often send back. Ball's thrown in. McLean, tap down. Roberts, handball's out in front of Jordan, who has to work for it. His handball's chopped off, so Crows get a chance to go inside 50. Ball lasers forward. Blakey following him. Landed just in front of him, so couldn't take the mark and ran it over the boundary line at the right forward flank for the Crows. Nearly 30 minutes into the second term. Crows haven't kicked a goal in this second quarter. And the Swans have 6.
Umpire heaves it back in front of the old scoreboard. Rather new scoreboard, in fact. Down it comes. Laird through traffic. Dumping the tackle down there was Dowling. Intercepted by Mills for the Swans. Hurries his kick back to the outer wing. Worrell goes up there for the Crows. Goulden through traffic again. McLean takes on Adams. Footy comes loose. Pounced on by Dowling. The Crows are away. Crouch's hand pass to Laird, attacking side of the wing. He can set them up inside forward 50. It's down to a 2-on-3. More Swans defenders there as the halftime siren sounds. And so ends a lacklustre second term from the Crows, who were more than competitive in that first quarter. On this occasion, though, 6 unanswered goals to the home side to have the Swans out by 43 points. There's going to be a free kick. It's going to be a very late Dawson, I think. Free kick. Jordan Dawson it will be. So I didn't see what it was for as I was reaching for my notebook, but it was against Callum Mills on the opposing skipper and former teammate. So Jordan Dawson may well find the Crows' first goal of this second term after the halftime siren. He makes no mistake. So some consolation there for the visitors, who do indeed find a major from the boot of their skipper, Jordan Dawson. I'll start again. Swans 13-6-84 to Adelaide 7-5-47. So a margin at the major break is 37 points. The Swans so far have 3 goals to Luke Parker, 2 to Joel Amati in his 50th game, singles to Chad Warner, Hayden McLean, and McDonald, Rowbottom, Florent, Goulden, Rampy and Melican also on the board with surprising goals in that first quarter. Meanwhile, for the Crows, Thilthorpe has 2. Singles to Keys, Berry, Dawson, Walker and Nankervis. So that's the halftime situation here. The Swans by 37 points. Meanwhile, at the Gabba, about to get the third term underway between Brisbane and Essendon. It's the Lions at 7-9-51, leading Essendon 3-5 at 23. And that result will confirm a home final for the Brisbane Lions, which means that as it currently stands, 3 of the 4 finals will be outside Melbourne. in that first week of the AFL finals. But on to more immediate matters here. Your experts are Premiership Swan Tyke Nelly and dual best and fairest line and former Giant Joel Patfull.
It was more of a Swans quarter, that quarter, wasn't it? They started with the offence, but were able to build on their defensive game there to slow the Crows up, force them long. And when they get it, we saw that slingshot style that they were so good at earlier in the year. It looked much more like that game style that they were going for that first half of the season, probably what they've been missing the last few weeks. So they'd get some confidence out of that. And I think your call late, Declan, about them going into practice game strategy, they definitely would be doing that as well at times. Last few minutes, run down the clock, trying to get some of those scenarios that will come to them in the finals. They probably failed that with giving away a goal late in that quarter, but definitely more of a Swans quarter.
Yeah, they tightened up the first 5 or 6, 7 minutes even of the start of that second quarter on a stoppage, and it was a repeat stoppage after repeat stoppage, and they started a grind. They got the ball outside the stoppage and just an open space that looked extremely dangerous, and it was almost like a repeat for the first 10-15 minutes of the game. Grinded out as a stoppage, and just Adelaide couldn't go once it came out of the stoppage, once it was a repeat stoppage. So well coached as a group, and the players obviously to be able to adapt to it, and also the back 50 from Sydney. You saw Blakey intercept or trying to help and support a couple of times. Grundy, and you talked about that practice piece. Logan McDonald impacted late in the game. They're late, but Adelaide really just fell apart. There was no potency in their ball movement whatsoever. It looked shaky down back, and that piece when we saw that their ability to win the ball at centre bounces in the first quarter just wasn't there, and that zip wasn't there, and it was like Jordan Dawson is carrying an injury with a calf. Looks tight, albeit he got to get goal right at the end of the game, at the end of the quarter for Adelaide, but it was all Sydney's quarter, wasn't it?
Those one-on-ones that we're seeing early in the first quarter, they ended up being 3-on-1s that showed the Swans they were working harder back into their back 50, cramping them for space and creating more of a contest.
Which shows their good ability as a mature football team. Clearly we know Sydney's is a mature football team, that they're able to adjust the quarter time from the instructions of the coaches and actually go and carry out what's been instructed from them, and they haven't been able to do that in first quarters, but to be able to do that at quarter time again and to get the game clearly back in their terms.
You can text us as well, 0437 774 774. The thoughts of Tyke Nelly and Joel Patfull on ABC Sport. I'll recap the day in full for you after ABC News, but wins so far today to Hawthorn over North Melbourne by 124 points at York Park in Launceston. Geelong by 93 points over West Coast, and it looked much, much uglier for most of that game, in which they kicked 26 goals. In fact, both they and the Hawks ran up cricket scores on their opponents today with 26 goals apiece, Hawthorn and Geelong.
Did Zach Tui get a goal in his last game?
Yeah, he did.
You did?
Yep.
It's
a public holiday in Ireland.
Yes, it is. Second best Irishman to play the game. Jimmy.
And the other game at the MCG, Gold Coast beat Richmond by 28 points. So if nothing else, Damien Hardwick sort of bookends the year with wins against Richmond in opening round and in round 24. So the game which meant nothing in the grand scheme of things finals-wise, but I'll give you a full recap of all those games as well. You can find a full call of the Lions and the Bombers on the ABC Listen app as well. As I say, your text remain welcome, 0437 774 774. Half-time at the SCG, the Swans lead Adelaide by 37 points. More to come very shortly, but right now it's time for us to head to the ABC newsroom.
This is ABC News with David Rowlands. ABC Chief Election Analyst Anthony Green projects that the CLP will win a majority in the Northern Territory election. It ends 8 years of Labor government in the Territory. Early figures show a two-party preferred swing of more than 10%. The former Chief Minister and member for Nightcliff, Natasha Files, says that results have been disappointing across Darwin's northern suburbs.
It'll be interesting to see with those independents and Greens where Labor lands, and then can we get that second place, or are we out of the picture already in third place?
The Northern Territory Electoral Commissioner Kirsten Kelly says that early results have shown a lower voter turnout than the previous election.
So at the moment we're looking at a participation rate, and there's still votes to be counted of around over 65%. So in 2020 the voter turnout was just under 75%. It is a lesser number, but we have over 12,000 more people on the electoral roll than we did in 2020.
Homes and businesses in the New South Wales Upper Hunter have shaken as an earthquake struck for the second straight day. Geoscience Australia says a 4.5 magnitude quake hit near Muswellbrook around 4:30 this afternoon. The same area was struck by a 4.7 tremor around midday yesterday, with further tremors felt as far as Newcastle and even Sydney. Muswellbrook resident Wayne Tom says today's quake didn't feel as strong.
I'm not ashamed to say the one that we had yesterday certainly rattled me a little bit. I happened to be in one of the local shopping centres yesterday, and around midday when that one hit, and that was definitely unsettling.
Staying in New South Wales, where the Premier Chris Minns has paid tribute to the previous Liberal government for the years of work to build Sydney's new metro line from Chatswood in the city's north to Sydenham. More than 1 million passengers have been on board Sydney's new metro line since the light rail opened on Monday. Standing alongside former Liberal Premiers Mike Baird and Dominic Perrottet at a ceremony outside the Barangaroo station on the edge of the CBD, Mr Minns also thanked former Premier Gladys Berejiklian and all the workers involved.
To Mike and to Dom and to Gladys, congratulations on this incredible achievement. You should be very proud as well. This is not a day just for politicians. Obviously, this is about the engineers and the workers on this incredible project. So thank you to everybody on the Metro staff.
Victorian Police will increase patrols in Melbourne's west after a man was fatally stabbed early this morning. Emergency services were called to a park in Derrimut just before 4:30, where they found a 28-year-old man with stab wounds. A passerby performed CPR before paramedics arrived. However, the man died at the scene. Detective Inspector Dean Thomas says a number of knives have been found in the area.
Are they connected to this? They'll need to be forensically examined to determine whether they are linked to this incident. But, our crime scene examination is continuing.
The Western Australian Government has promised a further $7.2 million towards the replanting of trees that will be lost to the infestation of the shot-hole borer. The tiny beetle has killed 3,000 trees in Perth and is threatening to spread further. The Environment Minister, Reece Whitby, says the funding will support the planting of up to 3 trees for everyone lost on public lands.
This is a way that we can fight back, and in terms of increasing the urban canopy, which is such an important issue.
A manhunt is continuing in Germany after 3 people were killed and several injured in a stabbing attack at a festival in the city of Solingen. Michelle Rimmer has the details.
Germany's Interior Minister says authorities are doing everything they can to catch the person responsible for what she called a brutal attack that has shocked Germany. A man killed and injured several festival goers seemingly at random in a late-night stabbing attack before slipping away into the darkness. The attacker's identity and motives are not known. Police have blocked off roads and have appealed for witnesses to provide information. The festival, which was to mark the city's 650th anniversary, has been cancelled.
Authorities in Pakistan say a roadside bomb near a police station has killed at least 2 children and wounded 15 other people. The injured include police officers and passers-by, and some of them are in a critical condition. The blast occurred in Pakistan's troubled southwestern region. And just recapping our top story, that ABC Chief Election Analyst Anthony Green has projected that the CLP will win a majority in the Northern Territory election to end 8 years of Labor government rule in the Territory. This is ABC News.
G'day, this is Becky Cole inviting you to join me each week for Saturday Night Country. For more than 30 years, we've been playing the best in Australian country music, as well as the overseas artists that you know and love. So whether it's the classic tunes that you grew up with, the best new releases, or the interviews of your favourite acts, you'll find it all on Saturday Night Country. Saturday Night Country. Hear it anytime on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Warner bustles his way past Crouch, goes inside 50 in no time. Amati reaching down, takes the mark. Here's Joel Amati, meanwhile, in his 50th game. He lines them up with a set shot and opens his account tonight. Kick just scoops out towards half. Adams back to Warner. He's goal side 55 out. Pops it inside 50 again. Parker's waiting back there. Juggles the grab, controls it in the right forward pocket. He's no more than 30 out. He's kicked 2 goals so far tonight, though. does have impact wherever he plays, and he makes good with a set shot here. Straight over the goal and fires hat.
Parker and Goulden to a running Roberts on his left foot. Just a little chip kick inside 50. McDonald lost it for a second as it came across his shoulder, but he took the mark. 44 metres, slide angle. Swans have 4 now to start the second term.
Angled kick goes down the line here to find McLean. He's 70 from goal. Lays off the hand pass. Warner bursts by. Has a bounce. Eyes the goals and can dribble it through. He saw the opportunity. Doesn't need much, Chad Warner. And he's on the board as well. He can set them up inside forward 50. It's down to a 2-on-3. More Swans defenders there as the halftime siren sounds. There's really a free kick. So Jordan Dawson may well find the Crows' first goal of this second term up the halftime siren. He makes no mistake. So some consolation there for the visitors.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Half-time here at the Sydney Cricket Ground, where the Swans lead Adelaide by 37 points. This is Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport. Brett Sprigg alongside Declan Byrne, Poppy Penny on the boundary. Your experts, Ty Kennelly and Joel Patfull. Your texts remain welcome, 0437 774 774. I'll get to a couple of those in just a moment, but I will just recap what happened earlier today. And in fact, I'll just look at what's happening right now in Brisbane, where the Lions lead the Bombers by 29 points midway through that third quarter, and that will assure them of a home final. Earlier, Hawthorn beat North Melbourne 26-14, 170 to 7-4-46 at York Park. Jai Newcomb had 35 disposals. Dylan Moore kicked 4 goals, 3. Meanwhile, in Geelong, the Cats beat West Coast 26-12, 168 to 11-9-75. Jeremy Cameron made a late charge for the Coleman. He kicked 9 goals, 1. He did about, I think, 9 or 10 more. But he did kick 9 goals against the Eagles. Max Holmes had 26 touches. Ollie Henry kicked 4 goals, 4 for the Cats. And it's Mad Monday and a very difficult off-season coming up for the West Coast Eagles, who are still coachless for next year. And at the MCG, Richmond farewelled a couple of their retiring players. Of course, Dustin Martin finished up a couple of weeks ago. Gold Coast won that one by 28 points, 14-10-94 to 10-6-66. As I say, Damien Hardwick now has 2-0 against his old team, the Tigers. So a late consolation win in the year for the Gold Coast Suns, but their first finals appearance does go begging. We'll sort of rip apart the Adelaide season as well later on. Of course, it's their last game of the season, while the Sydney Swans now have the minor premiership confirmed. In control of things here. They will finish at least one game clear. Of course, Port Adelaide still to play Freo tomorrow. It's an interesting picture, that ladder. So the Swans on the live ladder are 2 games clear as it currently stands. Port play Freo tomorrow in Perth. Geelong, of course, did boost their percentage with that win over West Coast up into 3rd. The Giants, of course, can still finish 2nd themselves if they can knock off the Bulldogs in Ballarat tomorrow in the early game. But of course, there's still a watch on what happens with that lower part of the 8. So Hawthorn now provisionally in 6th. The Bulldogs have a superior percentage, so they can also displace them. And regardless, that'll be a final at the MCG, Hawthorn the Bulldogs. Of course, unless Carlton also make a charge. They're currently in 8th. They must beat St Kilda. Worth remembering, which Poppy Penny is certainly across all of this, if the Bulldogs and Carlton both win tomorrow, Fremantle's result against Port Adelaide matters not, and the Dockers will remain outside the top 8. They won't make it in. Of course, that's all still alive. If one of those results happens, bear in mind Hawthorn did knock off North, so they did their job today, but Fremantle require one of the Bulldogs or Carlton to lose tomorrow to the Giants, the Saints, and they can make their way in that last game of the year. So it is a fantastic end of the season. These things tend to happen quite organically, and we'll talk about wildcard around and all the rest of it. That is the finals picture. As I say, as it currently stands, the Swans, Port Adelaide, Brisbane and Hawthorn to host finals in 2 weeks' time, but that will change in some fashion between now and tomorrow evening. Out come the Swans. The Crows are already out there. Joel Patfull, Ty Kennelly. We're talking pre-game about Josh Rachele. And the talking point there during the week, the Crows and why he was dropped. I did give you the opportunity to expand on any teammates maybe across your time that have had that conversation from the leadership group. Pull your head in, whatever it is. Any names come to mind?
Ty, you want to start this one off?
Not as much from the media perspective.
Not talking up in the media like Josh Shelley was.
But couple. Hawley didn't mind us getting out and about Barry, but Dave, but mine was all pre-phones, really. I was pre-electricity and everything when I was playing footy, so it was
easier to keep a low profile.
Keep a low profile in Sydney.
No one's liking Instagram posts by accident or anything like that. But Dick Davis doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, that's right. And it was a difficult piece for us to handle, and it's always a tricky one when you're trying to build a culture or change a football culture of a football club, and a player consistently is not living up to the behaviours and to have the ability that Nick had, and obviously to do what he did for us and practically win us a premiership in that final. It's tricky. Not sure about yourself, Joel.
Well, the one that springs to mind for me is probably Brendan Favola when he came up to Brisbane. Obviously came with a bit of attention. Probably got away with it for the first year and played some good footy, but a few injuries and then a few off-field misdemeanours, and we were a pretty young group as well, so to have a senior player with that much attention and probably not setting the right example was a bit of a distraction for us.
I was hoping it was something new. I've ended up with Nick Davis and Brendan Favola, two names who I'm sure was probably in front of mine when I was thinking about old teammates of yours that had to have those special meetings, put it that way, with leadership group.
That's the one thing that I love about American sport. I love the personalities. I love characters in the game, and I'd love our game to keep going that way. It's when they're not all robots, and I hate seeing the game being overcoached and then what's the word for it?
Disciplined.
The media piece, and they're actually being like robots. I want them to actually go out and show who they are, and be a piece of your brain, and albeit within the football club, but. It's an age where accessibility to football is so easy now, and we got to encourage that. And it's the transition piece from what Cameron Ling was saying about sending players off and all this piece to the modern age of the game of social media.
0437 774 774. Alex, a Swans fan listening in Dubai. Can you ask Tig if he thinks the Swans can win the flag?
100%. Yep.
Are you still hot on the whole Swans-Giants grand final?
I have been since round 0.
Who you backing if it's a Swans-Giants grand final? Who's your tip there?
God, don't know.
He gets a paycheck from the Giants.
Giants,
full disclosure here on the ABC. Few numbers, Declan, just a half-time.
Leading possession getter is Matt Crouch with 22, but Errol Goulden has 19. He's got 8 clearances and a goal. Chad Warner, 14, with 4 clearances and a goal as well, so they have been dominant. Basically, if it's not Goulden or Warner getting clearances, it falls away pretty quickly. The Adelaide count, on the other hand, they're pretty well spread. Tackles are still low. 22 and 25 all up for the game. That's almost half of what you see in a half of footy generally.
It did feel a bit bruise-free in the first quarter, didn't it? Especially.
It was end-to-end footy, and probably something you'd expect this time of year.
Into the second half we go on ABC Sport. You're with Declan Byrne.
Swans kicked 6 in a row in that second quarter. Adelaide got a goal, well, after the second quarter had ended. So I don't know if you can even count it as a second quarter goal, but they got one to stem that flow. It was all Swans. Who'll get this first clearance? Warner pushes away from one. Back to Roberts. Little fake. Holds it. Inside 50, but it favoured Michael Annie, who takes the intercept mark. Although his kick is very dangerous. Florent across in front of Scholl takes the intercept mark inside 50. Just gave it way too much air. A clanger within 30 seconds for the Crows. This is not pretty for Adelaide fans, and Florent will line up on a 45-degree angle from 45 metres.
Yeah, good signs from Ollie. His ability to get the hands on the ball, but the defensive side of his game, it needs improving, and he's the guy that can create a lot of damage here in September with ball in hand. So there'd be good signs for him actually looking at him defensively, getting his hands and creating a turnover in this instance.
He's been pushed up on the wing as this season has gone on. He's played amazingly 116 games in a row, Ollie Florent. Loves a goal, but it just slides away. Fades across the face. A minor score to start this third term. 13-7-85, 7-5-47 on ABC Sport.
Laird drives it long beyond defensive 50 here for the Crows. Out of the contest, still Thorpe and Milliken, but Roberts is there first with the Swans. Double-fisted spoil out over the line for a throw-in. Still no change to our subs, Robbie Fox and Chase Jones. So it's going to quite like keeping on the boundary, just keeping across things. No real injuries to speak of. 38 points is the Sydney Swan lead. Back in it comes Grundy. There's O'Brien for company through the legs of Berry, and now Scholl tries to extract it. He's brought to ground by Jordan. The umpire says, "Give it to me."
And they've put Mills on board Sydney, trying to get him going. Looking obviously to use him at different times in September.
Tap down to Keys in his defensive half. His kick only goes 5 or 6 metres. Warner misses it, but Roberts picks it up. Half a kick again. It's pretty messy. Scholl is at the back. Finally some clean possession. Handballs to Keys on the wing. Little chip kip comes from Berry, who received the hands, to Fogarty, who marks. Wastes no time. Inside 50. Across the contest. It was still Thorpe. They paid the mark. He had a fair bit of it. And they have. He will kick for goal on the 45-degree angle.
Just got out the back on Milliken, I think it was, and Blakey in a handover. Nice entry from Fogarty. Hasn't had a big impact in the game whatsoever. No impact, in fact.
There's not many positives for this Adelaide Crows season. They've effectively gone backwards, but to get Phil Thorpe back, fit and kicking goals is a win. That is a tick for the Crows. He's taken 5 marks inside 50. He's got a couple already, and he pulls that one. Read the script, would you, Riley? 13-7, 85 to 7-6, 48. And that is 3 minutes gone in the third.
Blakey short kick out to Mills, and now beyond defensive 50 for Aaron Francis. Only his 5th game this year. Second-year Swan, ex-Bomber. Still inside defensive 50 here. Up to the wing. McDonald, one of the running start. He was held by his opponent. At the drop, Grundy has room to move. He can thump it down the line as well. Parker in the contest. He's paid the mark with Parker. Taking side of the wing. Back to Haywood. He's at centre half forward. They're streaking forward here for the Swans. Haywood, though, goes laterally. Wide to Rampy. Can he get 2 goals maybe? Goes inside 50, Rampy. Leading up and marking is Ollie Florent. He turns 55 out. Thinks about playing on. Umpire calls him back. And he'll take his set shot perhaps. No, he does go short and wide to Matt Roberts. He's still beyond scoring range here for the Swans. 13-7 plays 7-6. Roberts called to play on. The young South Australian goes inside forward 50. Second, third bite down there from Amadi. Crows with numbers in defence. Ball lays the hand pass away. Scholl, and now Worrell's kick to find Murphy is knocked away by Rampy. It's a stoppage here just outside 50 for the Sydney Swans. Paying an end. It's they who lead by 37 points. 5 gone third term. ABC Sport.
Just love to see that entry a bit more aggressive from Sydney, and you're looking at the scoreboard itself and giving you different options. You become too predictable when you're playing finals like that. That entry is very safe.
Grundy and O'Brien. Well, it hits the deck. O'Brien bounces up to him. A tap as far as Mills. Darts around 1. Gives it to Rowbottom. Gets it back. Mills inside 50. High. Spinning ball. Hard to mark. No mark. Jordan puts some pressure on his opposite number for the Crows. Hinge has got it back in the goal square on his left foot. And just clears Florent, who nearly had 2 intercept marks inside 50. Clears the pack. Still in play. Keys has it just inside the boundary line. Handballs to Scholl. Rampy was looking the other way, but he threw his arms out and it hit them. So a turnover. Tackle comes on Scholl from Goulden. And a ball up. That was a messy
like a windmill.
I was just going to say a windmill. He was running with his back to the ball. He knew it was coming, couldn't see it, and flapping his arms around.
Swans by 37. Grundy slips over. Hand pass away from Mills. Going through Rowbottom. Off here towards Florent. Wrapped up down there by Bond. Footy comes loose. Extracted by Scholl. He hoses his kick here only as far as Blakey. He spills the mark. Picked up by Fogarty. Has Murphy running by. Sweeping hand pass wide here against Saligo. He's goal side 45 out. Sends his kick on the bounce towards Walker. Feeds it back here to Curtin, who can close in and kick the goal. Dan Curtin. It's his 3rd career goal. The Crows have the first of this second half here in Sydney. Adelaide 8-6, 54. They trail the Swans, who are 13-7, 85 here on ABC Sport. Your experts, Joel Patfull and Ty Kennelly.
I tell you what, he showed some toe for a guy that's, what is he, 197 against Harry Cunningham, who's no slouch whatsoever. And well played by Adelaide to hold it up, and certainly takes his ability to draw the tackler in that instance. But some great speed from Curtin, and Harry Cunningham, like I said, is it's not slow.
Well, the Swans had pressed forward, and they were actually held up the Crows quite well. They couldn't get out of that defensive 50 a few times. They turned it over, got it back inside, but it was the intercept from Blakey, I think, just dropped that mark on the way through. Fogarty picked it up, and the Crows were away. Like you said, very impressive by the big fella. A bit of toe inside 50, good finish.
Curtin, he was an All-Australian defender last year. He's drafted, now he finds himself up forward, gets the first goal for the Crows of the third term. Keys can't quite get the clearance. It's shut down, and Adams applies a tackle on the Swans' attacking side of the centre circle. Ball will be bounced. O'Brien and Grundy wrestle. So the ball just hits the deck, bounces straight back up. Keys collects it. Grundy takes him to the ground. Another throw-up. Same side of the centre circle. Again, O'Brien and Grundy wrestle. This time, O'Brien with the tap. Comes down to Adams. Little grubber inside 50. McDonald had a bit of time. Turn, handball though, straight to a Crow. Dawson clears 50 with another grubber, but it only goes as far as Lloyd, who's 55 out for the Swans. On his right foot to the top of the square. McLean flies, just drops the mark. Running through was Warner in the right forward pocket. He's tackled. We will have a ball up just a couple of metres out from that Swans goal. The margin is 31. Swans lead here on ABC Sport.
It goes. Run by a couple of players. Parker toes it forward. Crouch tracks it toward the boundary line and steps over. It will be a throw-in. Inside 50. Heading then for the Sydney Swans. 8.5 gone, third quarter. This is ABC Sport, ABC Radio, News Radio, and the ABC Listen app. Umpire tosses it back in. Grundy palms it down. Ricochets away from Hugh Bond of the Crows. Grundy tries again, feeds it back here. Hand pass comes to Goulden, who can straighten up from the pocket and pop it through. That was an easy chain in the end. Jordan by hand found Errol Goulden. And the Swans superstar pops through his second goal of the night. They extend their lead back to 37 points.
Too easy, really. You can't give a player like Errol Goulden that much space inside 50. Just watching back for the listeners at home, he stays forward of the stoppage and no one goes with him. 20 metres free inside 50.
Yeah, Bond was the one that started on him, and then he's got drawn to the ball thinking he was going to get it, but starting to get into that piece of being a great at such a young age, you know, and obviously best and fairest and all Australian, but when I say great, I mean great footballers have an ability, the ball seems to find them, and in that instance you could see that the player was tagging him and thought he was going to win it, but it ends up with the player who's tagging.
Errol Goulden, 20 touches and 2 goals, named in the 22 under 22 this week, might have a second All-Australian jacket. Clearance comes from Roberts, who goes backwards. Waiting there was Mills. He looks left and finds Blakey by hand, who uses that left foot. Unsurprising from Blakey. Loves that left foot. Parker grabs it, handballs to Cleary. And then they decide to go backwards through Florent. Kicks it to Roberts. They're back inside their D50, the Swans, and Melick and Marks. Out this eastern wing, he has Cunningham really short. It's just 15. Swans have possession in their D50. Warner leads at him. They advance it. Now they find a way through the centre square. It's with Roberts. He'll use his left foot. Has Mills on the western side on the logo. Marks for the Swans.
He was unmarked. The captain plays on now. Pops it inboard. It's a reaching grab from Campbell. Swans go forward again. Campbell's kick inside 50. Finds Adams. Got away from Laird. Controlled the overhead grab. He's 45 out. Goes even closer though. Adams as he finds Gould leading up. Ricocheted away though by ball lays in defence. Florent gets there first for the Swans. Goulden goes to gather again. Crouch does so now for Adelaide as the clearing kick does come from Scholl and finds the chest of Curtin. He walks around Campbell. Goes deep inside 50 here for the Crows. Milliken gets there first though in defence. He's running off left half back and shares it with Rampy.
Might have been a little bit nervous there, Melick, and he knew he had Walker behind him. The Ball bounced favourably for him. Rampy inboard to Goulden. Touch number 21. 21 on his back. Reigning BNF at the Swans. Just his 4th year. He's a superstar in red and white. Finds Campbell. What a kick that is. Through the middle of the ground where there didn't look like there was a lane. And McLean ran onto it. He marks just inside the centre square. Campbell, who's had an up and down year, found himself out of the team a couple of times, but he is solidifying his spot when it counts. McLean goes wide to Cunningham. They don't like anything inside 50, so again, Cunningham looks right and hits up Jake Lloyd, still 75 from goal. Swans on the attack. They lead by 37, same margin it was at half-time. Lloyd deep to the right forward pocket. Armadi knew he wasn't going to mark it, tried to tap it on. It bounced back to him, turns on his right, tight angle. Well, that would have been a good one. Just a minor score, though. 12 minutes into the third term. 14-8-92 to 8-6-54. Swans lead by 38 points. Saturday night on ABC Sport.
Around the grounds at the Gabba, Brisbane leads Essendon by 45 points, approaching three-quarter time there. Keep you across it all, but it's a little bit closer here at the SCG. 38 points the Swans lead. Adelaide kicks out here as it comes from Hinge to Worrell. Now Hinge goes beyond offensive 50. Goulden got in the way though. Keys regathers, shares it with Nankervis on the 45. His kick releasing Taylor, and now Berry run down from behind by Cunningham. Umpire says play on. They're still going here. It comes from Laird back to Murphy. Kicks to full forward. Walker got a nudge from Milliken at the back there. Milliken gives chase towards the boundary. Keeps it alive here for the Swans, and they'll rebound out of the pocket to find McDonald.
Milliken 2 one-on-one wins against Walker in a row. That'll boost his confidence. Another one who is having his best year. Played his most games of his career this year. In fact, almost the same amount as he has over the last 3 years, Lewis Milliken. Down the line, the Tools combine again, but McLean spills an easy mark after doing the hard work getting rid of Worrell. So the Crows have it, but they turn it over to Cunningham in a dangerous spot. They move it quickly. Roberts off half-back, another one who's found his spot in this side. Uses it well, left foot kick to Rampy. Florent on the wing. They wait, and there is space everywhere. Blakey says thank you very much from outside 50. He had a panic. He started his career as a forward, and that was a brilliant finish. From 51 metres, Nick Blakey kicks Swans out to a 44-point lead. That was training drill stuff. 15-8-98 to 8-6-54. Your experts, Ty Kennelly and Joel Patfull.
What the finish? Oh, easy. Nick made it look. The lizard, you know. It's and it was, you're right. It's a big win by Milliken down here for his confidence to turn the ball over initially to get it out. And let's go back to Lewis. Is that this frustrations he's had with his body to continue to keep playing, and obviously what's happened with Paddy McCartan not being in the team, and he's been able to stand up as a key defender. But that was just it was a training run. But Nick's taken 2 steps. He's facing the lady stands, turned around and just went whack. Nonsense as you want.
So low too. Would have gone head height at most.
That's 11 different goal scorers so far for the Swans, so a good spread for them tonight. And now another game-high lead of 44 points.
I just think about Isaac Heaney on 3 Brownlow votes, you know, if you're thinking about playing. Isaac looking at this game.
Clearance goes way of the Crows, and Phil Thorpe, good ruck tap though. It's not a good kick or not a good mark attempt by Walker as he spills it now as the Crows go off half back. It's with Logan McDonald. Walks around ball ace, lost the footy in the tackle, follows up here. Ball ace is the one tackled now by McDonald. The umpire will ball up on the outer wing. Bobby Penny on the boundary.
You talk about Lewis Milliken. It must be said every time he comes to the bench, he's with the physios having his hamstrings worked on. We know he's had hammy tightness this season, so the Swans will be hoping he makes it through.
21 games this year. It's his career best tally of games in a year.
It's been a hamstring for the last 5-6 years. It's been a constant with Lewis, and I'm sure he'll be a bit nervous with it, obviously, with the history that he's had.
One of tonight's unlikely goal scorers alongside Dane Rampy for the Swans, who lead by 44 points. 16 going third term, ABC Sport. Back in it comes. Socket away here as going in hard Curtin. Gets the hand pass off. Campbell there first for the Swans. Hot footy. Berry gets there. Hand pass was gathered now by Mills, and now Blakey. Roberts off to Cunningham. The Swans are away.
And they go inside 50, and a great mark from Campbell, 48 metres out, but all alone in the goal square. This is becoming a party, and McDonald marks, kicks from the goal line. He has 2, and And the Swans are running away with this one. Another Sydney goal, and another one that made them look so easy. So it is 16-8-104 to 8-6-54. They have brought up the ton at the 16-minute mark of the third term.
Well, it is starting to look like a bit of a training drill, isn't it, through the middle of the ground. The Swans, by foot, have really turned it up, haven't they? And they're starting to hit those targets. It's probably a reflection of the Crows giving them a bit more space and their defensive structure breaking down, but skill level inside 50 and a couple of gimme goals there, really. McDonald's kicked his second from the goal square. All looks a bit too easy.
What a great tune-up as a footballer. You know, you're getting for a final, you know, you mind a premiership, and it's, you know, you're coming into a big month of football. It's pretty bruise-free, and you're getting a chance to actually play a bit of competition, and they'll be happy with this.
Margin is now 50. Swans win the clearance. Warner swats away the tackle of Berry. Has room to bounce. Pops it inside 50 and finds Haywood. Simple chest mark. 40 out directly in front.
Bruise-free, hey? Just not getting handy on.
Bruise-free. Crows have still had 28 tackles for the game, so halfway through the third quarter, 28 tackles is ridiculously low.
He's been battling knee soreness, Will Haywood, so there was talk he wouldn't maybe play this week. He's approaching 200 career goals. This is 198 if he's successful. Couple of steps, in he comes, misses to the right-hand side. 16-9-105 for Sydney Swans. Adelaide 8-6-54. 18 goal in third quarter. ABC Sport for Saturday night footy.
It wouldn't be surprised if they call a sub early with one of those players who has been struggling a little bit. Get them off, ice them up, get them ready for the next week.
Another one I'd be picking.
Murray on the kick out. Has Dowling on the 50. And that is a spearing kick. Up the wing. Waste no time to Worrell, who marks. Towards Taylor, but gave it way too much air, and Francis a big spike. So they turn it over on the wing. Rowbottom has it for the Swans. Hands to Campbell, back to Rowbottom, then to Jordan. Big up and under. Armadi is leading the way. Well, he mistimed his run, and ball hit the deck. One bounce. Touched over the boundary line about 75 metres out from the Swans goal. 18.5 minutes into this third term. They lead by 51, the home side.
Matt Roberts, 23 disposals, by the way. He's averaged 24.5 in his past 6 games, the South Australian. The Swans, back in it comes. Rowbottom reaching for it, so too Adams. Dowling gets there first for the Crows, and now Saligo slips the tackle. Still a ball in dispute on the wing of the SCG. Roberts goes out after it, and we'll see it out of bounds for a throw-in.
Another one just adds that depth to him. You know, he's a tough kid that loves to get after the player, and reminds me a small bit of Dan Hanbury when you look at him play. You know, but it's he's a very team-orientated player, which allows Errol and Warner and those types to go to town.
McLean doing the ruck work, taps it straight down. Jordan gives it back to the ruckman. He has Lloyd running for him, threw it out in front of him, but tackled immediately. It was Berry, who is a tackling machine, led the comp in 2022 for tackles. Applies another one here against the boundary. McLean and Philthorpe again. Rowbottom's there, he can't pick it up. And second go, he taps it towards McLean. Half a possession, but he spills it to Berry. So the Crows move it forward, 1-on-1 ahead of the footy, but making it a 2-on-1 was Blakey. Still doing the tough stuff there. You like to see that. Blakey, a big fist over the boundary line about 60 metres out from the Swans' defensive goal. 20 minutes gone in the third. They lead by 51.
Back in it comes on the outer side. Philthorpe and McLean in the ruck. It's dropped cold down there by James Jordan. Picked up here by the Crows. Coming back inside forward 50 through Saligo. His hand pass picked up by Blakey. He can snake or lizard away off half back. Gets it back near the hand pass and now has Adams in support. He can send his kick wide now. It skids out towards Florent. Members side this time to switch for the Swans. Out in space for McDonald. Sits up on its point. Now it gets it back to Cleary. And now Florent can retreat back towards the D50 where it finds Francis. He's at left half back for the Swans, who lead by 51 points. ABC Sport.
Aaron Francis with it. He's played plenty of VFL. He's averaged 20 disposals and 7 marks. He is the go-to man when one of those key defenders is out for the Swans. As they switch it across to the outer side, it's with Lloyd on the wing. Sloppy kick to Warner, but he has so much space that he can gather, take a bounce, and no one's even near him. Risky kick to Blakey, but again, no Crows look like they are near it or they want it. Swans are toying with him. Francis, inside 50. Hayward, second grab, spills on his right, picks it up, shot at goal, towards the goal. Borlase is right there and rushed through for a behind. 106 plays 54, 21 minutes have elapsed in this third term. Swans up by 52 here on ABC Sport. Declan Byrne, Brett Sprigg, Poppy Penny on the boundary, Joel Patfull and Ty Kennelly, your two experts.
Borlase kicks out to find Worrell beyond offensive 50, and now a long way up the ground is where Fogarty marks. Works his way around Hayden McLean. His kick fires low towards Phil Thorpe on the outer wing. Berry. Hand pass back inboard now for Crouch towards half forward. Florent floats across to intercept there for the Swans. Gathered though off half forward. The hand pass does come off to Taylor, who can close from 30 and slot the finish. Nice work from Jordan Dawson to find Zach Taylor. And the Crows go coast to coast to score the goal and cut the Swans lead back to 46. It is just their second goal of this third quarter. 22 and a half played. The Swans are 16-10, 106. Adelaide 9 at 660. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
It's off the back of a drop mark from, looked like Oliver Florent had it and intercepted itself and he slipped over, but nice walk. You know, Jordan's going to be very clean inside with his hands and a nice composure from the young footballer. Zach Taylor.
So who are you subbing, guys? If the Swans are going to sub someone,
Brodie Grundy.
Yeah, Brodie's the one.
And you got Fox can play a rock and head, McLean can chip.
Yeah,
but
okay.
it does depend if there is a player that is has copped some soreness.
You never know. There could be someone else out there that we don't know that's sore. I mean, it's always probably your best player. I think Warner, if he's got an injury, I'd get him off because he's so important for him moving forward as well.
Poppy Penny, any movement down there?
Yeah, Chase Jones has been subbed into the game. I'm just trying to confirm who's been subbed out for Adelaide.
So there you go. The Adelaide sub, Chase Jones, is in. Meanwhile, Swans get a free kick. They don't need any freebies at the moment, but it's a 666 infringement for the Crows. So Grundy goes short to Rowbottom, who turns on his right. Deep entry, 3-on-3. A couple of skittles fall over. Nankervis was left standing there for the Crows. Left back pocket, gives it to Scholl. He goes up the line, but it was as if it was a perfect kick for Blakey, who ran in from half forward and took a mark in front of his opponent. Murphy, he will kick for goal on a tight angle, right half forward flank from just inside 50.
They're starting to fall apart a little bit here, the Crows, and you've got to be careful with these kind of games because they can, if this blows out too far, this can start affecting you as you go into your pre-season, as you go into your next season. This turns into a 100-point loss that actually can influence your next season.
So Blakey from just inside 50. He's got 3 goals this year. This would be for his second tonight. Oh, how about that? He had a brilliant finish about 5 minutes ago from the tightest angle. He used a bit of width and slots it home with that trusty left foot. Nick Blakey has 2 goals to go with his 18 disposals. And the Swans extend that lead back out to 52 points. 17-10, 112 to 9-6-60 here on ABC Sport. Swans are dominating.
Another turnover in their D50 from the exiting Adelaide, and the pressure hasn't been huge from Sydney, but it's just a skill error, and we know this boy's ability by foot and his skill level is off the charts, and started his career as a forward, and taking all the credit for putting him in half back, but also wouldn't do it for a couple of years. But finally,
it's not like you to take credit. It's like Poppy on the boundary.
Yeah, Billy Dowling's been subbed out of the game for the Crows and no movement on the sub yet for the Swans.
Okay, thanks, Poppy. So Chase Jones into the action. The sub for the Crows as we've hit time on now in the third quarter. The visitors do go forward of halfway. Saligo's high kick dropped by Francis. Curtin is lurking, has Fogarty in support, but Goulden comes in defence for the Swans, and now Rampy sockers it here. It's ricocheted off Fogarty and gone back out over the boundary line for a throw-in. Deep in the Crows attack at the Randwick end of the SCG. The south end of the ground. 52 points is that equal game-high lead. 26 going third term.
Sharon spun back in. It'll land inside attacking 50 from Crows. But the Swans have all the answers. Handball from Rowbottom, short kick from Grundy, but it only goes as far as the edge of the 50. It'll come back in. Phil Thorpe ran straight through the pack, just couldn't stick it. Ball bounces over the boundary line in that exact same spot we had the throw in just before. Left forward pocket for the Crows.
He's been one of the shining lights, still thought, for the Crows. He's still presenting, creating a contest. Once again, brought the ball to ground inside 50 there.
So Brian and Grundy. Brian, good tap, gets good metres, gives Keys some room, and he shoots for goal. Cannons into the post. So behind for the Crows, it is 112, plays 61.
To Poppy shortly. I think Poppy championed that might have jumped and got on the Crows sub.
Yeah, they did indeed. It was actually Worrell who's been subbed out.
Okay, did have Dowling listed for a second as the subbed out player, but Worrell it is. And Chase Jones into the action. Thank you, Poppy. As Hayward's hand pass back now to Blakey. Just nurses it down the line. Cleary was beaten that time by Chase Jones, and now Murray. They can keep it moving here as it comes from Taylor. Marked by Kurt, attacking side of the wing. Swings it back infield now. Marked by the vice-captain Keys. He's 60 from goal now for Adelaide. They trail by 51 points. He pops them inside 50. Roberts intercepts. Possession number 25 coming up for Matt Roberts. A short kick to find James Rowbottom.
Oh, Matt Roberts, what a game he's having.
It's great for your confidence, isn't it? A game like this. For a young man, you're going into a finals campaign that really cements yourself and feel really strong about your preparation.
Swans ship it round, but then they pull the trigger straight through the middle. It was Florent who kicked it, landed on the bullseye. Wasn't perfect, but it'll work out. Hayward tapped it down to Rowbottom, who gave it back to Hayward. Short kick to Parker. Again, he couldn't mark, but it bounced straight back to him. He was tackled, though. Spills free, and Adelaide have the advantage. So just outside 50, it's with Ben Keys. Lowers his eyes, shoots a goal, pulls it. A couple of behinds in a row for Ben Keys. It's 17-10, 112 to 9-8, 62. Swans lead by 51.
Round the grounds to Brisbane. The Lions lead Essendon by 46 points. Early stages in the final quarter there. So disappointing end to Essendon's disappointing season. Well, disappointing end of the season. They were okay in glimpses. They come beyond defensive 50 here, the Swans, and Rampy runs back with the flight. Was it out of bounds for a throw-in? The Lions will progress and host a home final in a couple of weeks' time in Brisbane against, could be Fremantle, could be Carlton, the Bulldogs. There's still a few things to play out tomorrow. We'll recap all that post-game here tonight. Umpire chucks it back in at the SCG. Cleary out after it first for the Swans. Hand pass picked off here as it comes to Crouch, and Grundy's into the back of him. The umpire says holding the ball. The big man rewarded at left half back for Sydney.
It's hard to don't argue someone who's over 200 centimetres, massive wingspan like Brodie Grundy, still doing the hard stuff. Might be sore. Kicks back inside 50. Well, that was maybe a bit more Ruckman-like. Turns it over. And Phil Thorpe is a part-time Ruckman. Won't afford him that curse, but outside of the right boot, straight out on the full. Poppy Penny down on the boundary.
Yeah, Braden Campbell's come off a little bit proppy, and he's getting his right groin looked at by the physio. He's had a little bit of work on that throughout the game as well.
Approaching the half-hour mark here, near three-quarter time. Swans by 50 points. Crows in possession. Jones busts the Adams tackle. Crouch wrapped up by Cleary. And again, will ball up at right half forward for Adelaide. So as yet, no movement on the Sydney Swans sub, as Poppy Penny mentioned. O'Brien and Grundy tangle here. Cleary, who debuted in the derby recently. Snaps down the line. Mike Lenny spills it down here. Saligo breaks away from Goulden. He's 52 out. Pops it inside 50 now on the half volley. It's there for Phil Thorpe. Breaks away from Melican. Saligo can straighten up, but not enough. He misses near side. The Crows are peppering away. It's just too little too late from here. As we approach three-quarter time, it's the Swans 17-10 to Adelaide 9-9, ABC Sport.
Roberts on kick-out duty, looks to his right. Cunningham was there, so he used the easy option. Hayward offers him a lead. That mark is taken. Still inside defensive 50 for the Swans. They slow it right down as they've done all game when they feel that they want to. Up the line is the kick. Spoil comes. Ball hits the deck. Tackle pressure applied. Somehow it comes loose to Parker, but he handballs it straight to Billy Dowling. That is the three-quarter time siren. It was a little bit stilted, but they got there in the end on the button. And at three-quarter time, the Swans 49 points they lead by. It is 17-10, 112 to 9-9-63. The goal kickers for the Swans. Goulden has 2. Blakey had 2 in that third quarter. Parker has 3. McDonald has 2. Armadi has 2 as well. Melican, a rare goal for him. Hayden McLean has a goal as well. Rampy, Rowbottom, Chad Warner, Ollie Florent, they all have 1. So that's 17 goals already. In terms of the Adelaide side of things, a couple of goals to Riley Thilthorpe, singles to Taylor, Curtin, Nankervis, Dawson. Ben Keys has 1-3. And Berry wraps up their 9 goal kickers on ABC Sport.
It's on ABC Radio, News Radio and the ABC Listen app. This is Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
If you're a fan of revealing conversations with some of our most beloved Australians, I reckon you should check out my podcast. I'm Virginia Trioli, and in the latest season of You Don't Know Me, I sit down with Hamish Blake, Bree Lee, Poling Yao and more to get behind the public persona. The idea is simple. I have 6 set questions to help you understand what really drives them, what they've got wrong and what they're most proud of. Find You Don't Know Me on the ABC Listen app and hit follow.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Sentence's kick on the bounce towards Walker. Feeds it back here to Curtin, who can close in and kick the goal. Dan Curtin, it's his 3rd career goal. The Crows have the first of this second half here in Sydney. Grundy tries again, feeds it back here. Hand pass comes to Goulden, who can straighten up from the pocket and pop it through. That was an easy chain in the end. Jordan by hand found Errol Goulden. And the Swans superstar pops through his 2nd goal of the night.
To Rampy, Florent on the wing. They wait, and there is space everywhere. Blakey says thank you very much from outside 50. He had a panic. He started his career as a forward, and that was a brilliant finish. Nick Blakey kicks Swans out to a 44-point lead, and they go inside 50, and a great mark from Campbell, 48 metres out, but all alone in the goal square. This is becoming a party, and McDonald marks, kicks from the goal line. He has 2, and the Swans are running away with this one.
It's starting to fall apart a little bit here, the Crows. You've got to be careful with these kind of games. If this blows out too far, this can start affecting you as you go into your pre-season, as you go into your next season.
Hand pass back inboard now for Crouch towards half forward. Florent floats across to intercept there for the Swans. Gathered though off half forward. The hand pass does come off to Taylor, who can close from 30 and slot the finish. And the Crows go coast to coast to score the goal.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Sydney leads by 49. Make it... Yes, 49 points here at the SCG on ABC Sport. That is the margin at the final change here, with the Swans looking now assured of the 2024 minor premiership, and the Crows set to farewell Matthew Nick's 5th season in charge with their 14th loss of the year. So, yes, that's the situation here. 0437 774 774 is the SMS. Brett Sprigg alongside Daniel Garb, Poppy Penny on the boundary, and your experts are...
Said Daniel Garb. Is he here?
Oh, no!
That's all good.
Oh, I hate when that happens to me. I was on autopilot. Sorry, Declan.
No stress.
Great job, Declan Byrne. Enough out of me. That's enough out of you, Declan, on the boundary. Ty Kennelly and Joel Patfull are your experts.
That's outstanding.
Oh,
that point of the night.
Shout out to Garby, who's at his father-in-law's birthday tonight. Having a great time, I'm sure.
It's tough to watch from here for both sets, really. From a Sydney perspective, now you're thinking we've done it all. Let's park the bus a small bit as far as your output. But from a coaching perspective, you want to keep going with them. You obviously don't want to get an injury from your key position players. You're thinking about who you're going to sub, what's going to happen. And from Adelaide, well, yeah, they should get on the bus. Sydney parking it, and they should just leave. It's been quite poor since really halfway through the first quarter, which is really sad way to finish your season, and disappointing for Nixie and the group itself. There's a few players you want to point out. I look at Fogarty, and I've been watching him a bit. just give some intent. You should be happy that you're actually playing footy. And what happens sometimes, I think, with footballers, not just Darcy, but footballers themselves, they just go through the emotions of it and they forget about how grateful they should be to actually be playing the game at the highest level, and they've got to play the games out, and you just move on to the next season and that's it. Well, you don't play enough games of football in your career, and that's the message you'd almost be saying to them at three-quarter time.
Well, absolutely. Disappointing is the right word, and I think Nix has talked so much about culture and what they're trying to build at the Crows and setting the standards, and this definitely isn't that, and this isn't how you want to finish the season. They've been so inconsistent and shown such good signs throughout the year, to then fall away like they have is super disappointing, and he'd be expecting them to show something in this last quarter, not just roll over and lose by 100 points like we've talked about.
Off yes, Rule I says, is there actually any tangible award of any kind for minor premiers? In other local news, Port Magpies win the Sandford Wooden Spoon for the first time since 1900. Well, I guess minor premiers, you get to wear your home colours on grand final day if you get that far. But yes, finishing first or second, there's no cash prize, is there? That's just for the premiers. You get the McClellan Trophy.
Yeah, the McClellan's the one, where you get the cash.
I haven't had it mentioned for a while, but there we go. The McClellan Trophy is, yes. And the Port Magpies, you're in Norwood. Well, you were a bit each way. You were Norwood and Port Adelaide Power, weren't you?
I was, but I'm Norwood. What was the question?
They're Wooden Spooners, Port Magpies. So Norwood probably celebrating tonight. I don't know how they're going. Anyway, 49 points. Final term is finished top, did they? There you go. Out of the middle here, the Swans. Adams spills the footy. Odom's kick was smothered. O'Brien tries now for the Crows. And now Adams just dumped Bond about the football. And as a result, the umpire will award the free kick to the Crows. And Hugh Bond.
Bond with the free kick, defensive side of 50, has Saligo running past him, uses him, deep kick, standing at the front with Stillthorpe. He's taken harder marks tonight, dropped that one. Fogarty was waiting for it, picks it up, and he finds a teammate. Short kick out to about 42 metres. The mark is taken by Saligo. No, the mark is taken, I think, by Murphy over there. No, it's Chase Jones, third time lucky. The sub is involved. Just a minute into the final term. Adelaide, their season done and dusted. What can they salvage from this fourth quarter? The sub pulls it across the face. Minor score to start this final term.
Putting Warner deep forward here, Sydney. So trying to protect him some bit, I think, in the context of the year.
Blakey drives it long beyond defensive 50. Out there with 2-on-2. It's off hands. By the way, the McClellan Trophy is now the club championship across the AFL and AFLW. Poppy on the boundary.
Yeah, the Swans have made their sub. It's Dane Rampy who's come out. It's tactical, and so Robbie Fox into the game.
Okay, thank you, Poppy. So, yes, they've changed that in the past couple of years. I think since last year, the McClellan Trophy is now the AFL and AFLW overall club championship, and the $1 million prize money is attached to that. But it's not the minor premiership anymore as it was for a long time. The Crows go forward of halfway. It's marked by Fogarty at right half forward as they start to surge forward in the tricolours. Inside 50 again. It was a little too wide for Thilthorpe. Blakey's standing out of bounds on the full. But it's going to be a throw in here at the heading end of the SCG.
I'm pretty sure the Lions hold it at the moment, given their success across both men's and women's in 2023. Ball thrown in. Adelaide scoring end. Again, they're still wrestling. O'Brien, another hit out. He's been averaging 43 of them this year, but it goes to a Swan in Florent. Comes back to Adams. Across the goals, marking it is Francis. Deep in his defensive 50. Left back pocket. He waits and waits and waits, so he gives Adelaide a chance to set up, which means this kick will be high and down the line. Hayward flies. Gets good hands to it. Hits the deck, though. Second grab, reels it in. Kicks it inboard to Warner, who did everything but mark it. Michael Annie came through. Warner second go. Rips it out of the contest. Back to Melican, down the line. Marking it is Cleary on centre wing.
Caden Cleary will retreat back towards defensive 50. It is marked by Melican. He'll swing it across the half-back line. Blakey marks in space. It's the hand pass forward now for the sub, Robbie Fox. Draws the man, gets the way towards James Jordan. There is Rowottom, who's unmarked, goes inside forward 50. At the back, McDonald. It sits up on its point there as he takes on Jordan Dawson. and dragged out of bounds for a throw-in at the round weekend of the SCG. It's the Swans who lead by 48 points, 17-10, plays 9-10. 4 minutes played, final quarter. Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
So Isaac Heaney, if you just joined us, has been rested tonight. He hasn't played. They've got Rampy on ice. We'll see who else might get some extended bench time in this final quarter. Ball's thrown in.
You're drawing Papley, McCartan. You know, there's a couple obviously there.
How many can you put on the bench?
Yeah.
Do you have to have 18 on the field? I don't think you do.
A few quality players to come back in.
Ball's thrown in. Balled up. Riley O'Brien, the tap down to Saligo, who gets the clearance. Good defensive spoil from Melican. And he might have just impeded Jones. He did. So he tackled Murphy without the footy, who gets the free kick. Goes wide. Saligo marks on centre wing for Adelaide. Looks back. Goes defensive side to Laird. What's the play here from Adelaide? They've got basically nothing to play for, still being conservative. Laird chips it to Saligo. Little 1-2. Saligo has no one in front of him. So finally, they go inside 50. Slow play from the Crows. It falls over the back of the contest. Fogarty was waiting for it. Wheels around on his left. To the top of the goal square. Florence there. Can't get clean possession, but Blakey was a teammate who could. Handballs it to Florent, then to Jordan, and he goes up the wing.
Jordan's kick goes out in space. McDonald's out after it there with Jordan Dawson. Kept alive by the Crows. It was nice work down there by Hinge, the former Lion. And now Ball Ace gets away from Cleary. Saligo on the bounce here again to Hinge. They can work their way forward. Dowling pops it inside 50. And the marking target, Taylor Walker, has it 45 out in the 45-degree angle.
Good bit of play there. It's almost non-contact at the moment, isn't it? It's like this.
AFL X.
Yeah. It's like they're almost corralling the players rather than committing to a tackle, just keeping them to one side. Interesting to see.
There's Warner and Goulding and those swapping forward, so they won't get any midfield time in this last quarter.
Taylor Walker eyeing off a 17th season next year. He's on one-year deals, has been for a while. Still waiting finalisation of that next contract, and he makes good here with the set shot, which sails through for his second goal of the night. It'll all be in consolation here for the Crows, who trail by 42 points. On ABC Sport, your experts Ty Kennelly and Joel Patfull.
Still has that leg, hasn't he? A 34, 35-year-old, so still got plenty of power in his leg, and it's going to be an interesting discussion, isn't it, for Nixie? You know, you're talking about change and culture. It's a real difficult discussion for him now with what's happened in the year. They're saying he's going to go on, but
he had a good year last year, and that almost kind of brought in a bit more faith this year as far as, do you go in? I mean, some players prove it's better to play one less than one too many.
But when the team has played the way it played last year compared to this year, it's a very different discussion and match.
I think it comes down to him. I think he wants to play, but I think from the team point of view, probably the right thing is that he finishes up. But if he's pushing so hard that he wants to play, it's hard to push him out the door the right way.
Grundy and O'Brien still going at it, and O'Brien gets the clearance, if you can call it that. It's a little kick up the side of his boot, favours the Swans, comes back to Grundy. Blakey, a bit of a fumble, and his handball then missed his target. Rowbottom came to Jones. Rowbottom applied a tackle that was way too high. So free kick to the Crows. He finds Murphy in the middle of the ground. Inside 50 comes from him, targeting Walker, straight to Campbell. Swans have possession now in the centre of the ground with Roberts.
Roberts, possession number 28 coming up for him. Got away to Blakey. He goes dashing to the middle of the SCG. His kick a little wobbly though, goes wide. Gould got us in the pocket. Hand pass on the bounce, back to McDonald, and now James Jordan, back to Cunningham. Jordan pops it inside forward 50, needs a lead. McLean is deep forward. Ball Ace beats him with the football. Now Nankervis gets it back here. The Crows can rebound off half back. It is marked though by Aaron Francis, who intercepts attacking side of the wing for the Swans.
He looks inboard, has Roberts. They've been using him all day. Goes to Blakey, short chip kick, all on his own inside 50. Luke Parker will line up for his fourth goal. To say this game is slow at the moment, it's like watching a bee after it stings someone. It's still moving on the ground. There's still something happening, but there is no sting in it. Luke Parker, he can lock up his final spot at the very least. There was chat this year that he won't be able to get into the team. He wasn't picked for stretches. He played VFL. Well, he's lining up for his 4th goal. All of a sudden, such a threat up forward from 49 metres. Let's fly. And he just pulls it. So a minor score added. 17-11-113 to 10-10-70. Swans up by 43 points here at the SCG as we await the crowning of the Swans and the minor premiership on ABC Sport.
Kick out was a little dicey here, but it's retrieved by Chase Jones, who beat Adams through the air. Luke Parker played in those 3 grand final losses, didn't he, as well?
Yep.
2012, that premiership, and then 3 losses in that biggest occasion. Riley O'Brien floats across to intercept on the outer side. Crows keep going forward. Hinge, high inside forward. 50 out the back. Philthorpe got separation on Melican. And he'll control it here. Goes short to find Zach Taylor with the centering ball. And Taylor marks 20 out directly in front.
And Luke was... sorry, Spriggy.
There's big game experience for those guys, and also just keen to atone from a couple of years ago, and there's opportunities that have gone begging.
And Luke was the sub in that. It was the first year of the sub in the grand final.
He was out the green vest, wasn't he?
Green vest.
Yeah, the horrible thing.
15-20 minutes or something in the granny.
Speaking of subs, Zach Taylor was that in the showdown last week against Port Adelaide. Here he is lining up for his 2nd goal of the night. And he makes no mistake. They close the gap here ever so slightly, the Crows. 11-10-76, they trail the Swans by 37 points. Sydney 17-11-113 on ABC Sport. 10 minutes gone, final term. Joel Patfull, Ty Kennelly.
They're the big little wins as a young footballer. You know, he's played the 8th or 9th game. You know, and I talk about Fogarty, but this kid will be appreciating every moment of the game. You know, sometimes you got to go back there as a footballer to realise as a young fella how excited you get about playing and you know, he's playing his 9th game, and the excitement he's got and the way he's playing and the development and growth he'll get by just kicking 2 goals in the last game of the season, taking it into a pre-season piece. You know, so well done, son.
It's good from Philthorpe as well, who was in a goal-kicking position but brought his younger teammate in. Another tick for Riley Philthorpe. Speaking of youngsters, Caden Cleary for the Swans has gone into the middle. That's where he plays all his footy in the VFL. He had 39 for a season high. Might get the clearance here, just spills it, has a 2nd go. Tackle applied by Rowbottom. Half a kick forward. Roberts marks it. It went about 6 metres, so we'll have a ball up on the edge of the centre square. Adelaide attacking side. Both the rucks fall to the ground. Keys out in mid-air. Walker the target. Francis gets the spoil. Comes to Crouch. Walker's down in back play. Might have copped an accidental elbow. Keep an eye on him. But in the meantime, Swans have gone through the middle. Half a fresh airy from Cunningham. So Soligo picks it up. He turns, kicks inside 50. There's no one there for the Crows. And Nick Blakey takes the intercept mark for the Swans.
27 disposals, make that 28 for the accomplished defender.
I'll be putting him in ice too if I could. There's too many of them.
From Roberts to Lloyd. Only about 20 minutes left, so they can see it out here. It's been a relatively bruise-free second half.
Yeah, true. You've got a roaring full forward for the Swans at the moment.
Not sure when they'll play.
Era Goulding.
Not sure when they'll play their home quali. I assume maybe Thursday night, the Swans, the very first final on that Thursday night. It's hard to tell. It was the minor premiers last year, Collingwood. Often it's the big interstate game. There's obviously, I think, most of the finals will be interstate in the first week of the finals this year, as in beyond Victoria, outside Victoria. As they come up the line here, the Swans. Getting there is Bond, shares it with Jordan Dawson, the Crows skipper. On to Dowling, and now Laird. Back to Dowling, got loose. Centres it towards half forward, but it's chopped off by Callum Mills.
Mills, the skipper, looks inside 50 on a long lead was Armadi. He had so much separation, it didn't matter, he dropped the mark. Has Adams, gives the hands. Adams, looping handball. That's a 25-metre out to Campbell. He looks to his right and has Warner between wing and half forward. He marks, looks inboard. Rowbottom marks. Warner runs past, and Rowbottom ignores that option. So instead, it'll be inside 50. Can they find a grab? Oh, McDonald, it fell in his lap. Couple jumped at it. I think it was Dawson who was on McDonald, let him go to the contest as if it did not matter at all, and maybe it doesn't for the moment for the Crows. McDonald marks, he'll line up on a 45-degree angle from just inside 40.
Well, Springer, you said interstate, big game. Interstate to who?
I know, it's a stupid word. I know, I kick myself for saying.
Can't say that in Sydney.
Outside Victoria.
Exactly.
Logan McDonald lines up for the Swans for his third goal of the night to take him to 34 for the season. It's his best year in red and white. Buddy who, Logan McDonald, has taken the mantle along with the other forwards. A great year for Logan McDonald. Another goal for the Swans. And they are looking fantastic as we approach finals. It's 18-11, 119 to 11-10, 76. Swans lead by 43. Let's head down to the boundary. Poppy Penny.
Guys, there's a Mexican wave going around the SCG right now. The Swans fans are pumped.
It's not something you see every day. You're at the footy anyway.
Right. And presets as well, Tyke. You said everyone was at the pub. Why would you be anywhere else than here? It's a little party.
I saw the presets for real at Gather Round. You know who was loving that? It was Dean Brogan. He couldn't believe it. He was into it. He was loving the presets. Don't worry about that.
I think the Crows boys are thinking about the presets maybe in about
I was going to
20, 30 minutes. They might be ready to go.
I was going to say, Tiger, missed finals were rare during most of your career, but did you ever start thinking about it if you missed the finals, thinking about that Mad Monday, what's coming up? It is a serious time for some players, though, because you're playing for your career and all the rest of it, but I don't know. Maybe
I play a whole lot of them. I do remember one year when Ruzi taking over and it was real excitement. We played Richmond in the last game of the year and we trashed them. But it is a difficult one. You don't want to think they're thinking about it. But
I thought the West Coast Eagles were certainly in that mindset today at Geelong. 15-goal final term here on ABC Sports. Swans by 43. Meanwhile, by the way, at the Gabba, approaching full-time there. Lions are 20 points. So Essendon closed the gap there. Lions by 20. As there's still some time left there. Back live here at the SCG, and Callum Mills has run down Zach Taylor and receives the free kick.
Like a Spriggy and Joel, you know, as a footballer, you don't play a whole lot of games. We have a lot of pre-season, you know, and that's why sometimes I keep saying you're going to be grateful for the games, because it's a long summer of running around, and you know, you feeling sore and sorry. Sometimes it can be not that hard to get motivated for, but when you think about you're going to be running around for 6 months, it's a bit easier to get motivated.
Mills kicked it to Blakey to Fox, then Fox went back to Blakey and back to Mills. So they are toying with him at the moment. The Swans in their D50.
And the Mexican wave is just coming across the ladies' stand again. I'll keep up to
date. You keep an eye on that. Florent marks it.
How many?
And he looks wide, and Francis takes a grab just inside. Still D50 for the Swans.
How many full laps is that, Poppy, of the Mexican wave?
I reckon it's come by me 3 times. I think on the 4th I'm getting involved.
Like that. Kick up the line from the Swans. Ball lays. Read it best when it hit the deck. He has Laird forward. He has Berry forward. Hands to both of them. Then to Scholl on his left. Squares it up. Good mark. No, just dropped that. Well, Taylor, who kicked the goal before, couldn't take it, and the Swans break out the far side. Hayward marks.
Hayward does mark in space. Options upfield here. Warner is all by himself on the O'Reilly wing of the SCG. Comes back inboard now. High raking ball inside 50. Amati in the contest with Murray. Plays out the back. Has support in the form of Cleary. Amati is beaten by Murray. Hand pass off to Michaelani. And the Crows can clear off the last line. It comes back to their skipper, Jordan Dawson. And now Laird, who's had plenty of footy so far. 26 touches. Oh, it's come to McLean. And that is just all too unfortunate. Jordan Dawson's kick goes straight to his former teammate Hayden McLean, who is 35 out directly in front.
Well, it almost sums up the night, doesn't it? You're captain of the footy club, exiting defensive 50, and to turn it over, what's that, 40 metres out straight in front of goal.
By the way, Hayden McLean has kicked 2 goals on 9 occasions this year, but never more. So never more than 2 goals. This is his second coming up here. Shouldn't trouble him too much here as he lays into it from 40, and he's missed. Oh, no. So, not yet achieved that second goal, Hayden McLean. The Swans lead here by 44 points as we approach time on here. Final quarter at the SCG, ABC Sports, Saturday Night Footy.
Jordan Dawson goes to the goal square and wants another crack at it. Straight down the middle with that piercing left foot. And he's turned it over. So Swans have possession on the logo. Comes to Cunningham. He goes inside 50. Just short of Hayward. Picks it up, but Dawson's hot on him. Ball spills free to Michaelani. Then to Nankervis by hand to Scholl, who gives it straight back to Nankervis. High kick, only went about 15 metres. They're just outside their D50, playing around with it. Crouch has a running Scholl. He handballs it to him. Scholl thought he had so much pressure, so he threw the boot to the ball, went straight out on the full next to the Adelaide interchange bench. Free kick to the Swans. They lead by 44.
Ooh, kick in from Cunningham. Just goes the required 15 and finds Parker.
Francis is limping off, I think, too.
He's indeed coming to the bench. By the way, Brisbane, despite that late flurry of Essendon scoring, do still lead by 20. It's going to be full-time very soon at the Gabba. That will place their ticket through to the finals officially for the Brisbane Lions, and it will be a home final as well. Elimination final in week 1. Swans on the overlap now. James Jordan goes inside 50. Amati leads up. Second grab, couldn't reel it in as Murray off to Crouch just works it up the line to find Lockie Scholl.
Parker seemed to move off the mark there, but the umpire lets it play. So Scholl kicks it down the line. Again, it's a 2-on-1 in the favour of the red and white. Blakey was there first, fisted it, didn't get good contact, and then jumped on Fogarty. Free kick, it was too high. So Fogarty has the footy. 2 kicks from home. Still 2 kicks from home. He looks inboard to Dawson. He marks it on the logo. They switch the play. All the way to Nankervis on his right foot. Can they find a mark in the right forward pocket? They can, and it's Taylor. He will line up for goal and start his run up from outside the field of play. The angle is that tight. The kick is only 25 or so metres. Zach Taylor, 2 goals from his 11 touches so far. You talked about a player who, no matter what the situation, he'd be out there fighting and scrapping for every possession, for every goal. New to the AFL, 3 goals would be a head held high kind of day for Zach Taylor.
Oh, well done.
And yes, it is. Threads the needle.
Jeez.
Couple of high fives. It's lackluster, the celebration, but he'll be pretty happy with 3 goals in a performance that will be a big loss for the Crows. A statement from the Swans. It is 8-12-120 to 12-10-82. Right here on ABC Sport. Brett Sprigg, Declan Byrne, Poppy Penny on the bench, and Joel Patfull and Ty Kennelly are your experts.
Well, it gives you a bit of hope in a game like this that there's a future there, isn't there? And like you said, the younger players definitely don't take these games for granted. Bit of energy, good finish and good experience to kick 3 goals in a game of AFL footy, but they've actually had 47 inside 50s to 45 to the Swans, so they've still been able to get it inside 50. They just haven't been able to convert like they did in that first quarter. Obviously, the Swans have been clinical going forward.
Confirmed, by the way, that Brisbane have beaten Essendon by 20 points in the Gabba, so I'll give you more details on that later, other than to say that the Lions had 11-21. So 32 scoring shots to 17. And the crowd here, by the way, 36,491. So it does feel a bit empty compared to the usual sort of big blockbuster sellouts. The Crows go forward of halfway. It's marked by Phil Thorpe. It was a neat entry from Berry to find the chest of Phil Thorpe, and he'll line up here, the spearhead Crow from 45 out directly in front.
It's cost them a lot of games, Brisbane. The inaccuracy, and it's continuing the problem kick 11-21, but not a centre bounce clearance and not a mark inside 50 for Adelaide.
Phil Thorpe started strong, kicked 2 goals, 2 in the opening quarter, lining up here for his 3rd major tonight. It's on its way, and it's straight and true. So in the end, the score might flatter the Crows a little bit here. The Swans have put the cue in the rack somewhat. The Crows are finishing strong. Margin is 32 points the home side's way. Sydney 18-12-120. Adelaide 13-10-88 here on ABC Sport. 22 gone, final term.
Well, he's a gun, Phil Thorpe. I like the look of him. He moves well, contest, good finish as well. I think that's also, you got to think about that when you talk about Walker and where he sits within that forward line. Obviously, you got Fogarty there as well with Phil Thorpe. Whether there's a spot there for Walker, and that'll obviously be a decision that they're going to have to make in the next few weeks, what that looks like.
They do need another forward, sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say he was a pick 2, so he is that gun forward, and he's showing it now, isn't he?
They do need another key forward, and that's whether it is Walker or whether it's trying to find one in competition. That's obviously everyone.
Footy slammed into the turf. Grundy down to Parker. He was set upon though immediately. Came loose to Caden Cleary, who finds a way through. Weave through 2 or 3 inside 50 towards Warner. Landed just in front of him. Paddled it to his own advantage. Short kick that won't be paid a mark, and Cleary has followed up with a good bit of pressure. Adelaide find a clearing kick though. Dowling marks and continues up the wing. Fogarty is the loose man for the Crows. He marks 80 metres out. Right hand forward flank, looks low. Phil Thorpe nearly reels in a one-hander, running through. Again, that youngster, Taylor. Logan McDonald is back there. He spills it. Taylor's still going. 4 goals, why not? Spins it back. It's coming, but not quite enough. So a minor score. 120 plays 89. Swans lead by 31.
24 gone, final term. Stings are out of the game well and truly. It's all about what happens in 2 weeks' time. While the Crows embark on Mad Monday. A 5th year under Matthew Nicks and no finals. We'll discuss all that post-game and run the rule over Adelaide season. The Sydney Swans will celebrate their 10th minor premiership in VFL AFL history. Sydney or South Melbourne. That were 2-on-2. And he was outbodied by Rowbottom, and it's over for a throw-in. That's when you can change gates. Subs were made in the 3rd term. Josh Worrell out for Chase Jones, while early in this 4th quarter, Robbie Fox entered the game for Dane Rampy. A couple of players on ice, a couple of players still to come back in the finals campaign for John Longmire's men, as James Jordan is run to ground in the 2-man tackle. And again, the umpire hovers and will ball up on the western wing of the SCG.
Little mission for Patfull and Kennelly. Okay, so if we've got 4 Swans coming back in at the end of the game, let's talk about who you would possibly drop from this team. If Heaney, Papley, McInerney and McCartan come back in as the Swans break free, clearance for Jordan, hands to Florent. He tells him kick it long, so he obeys Florent. Jordan to the edge of the 50. Punch came from Borlase, but it went backwards, so danger zone here. Adams comes through, a bulling run. He spills it, and a few dive on it. So we'll have a ball up, inside 50. Swans attacking end. About 35 from home. They lead by 31. And we are 25 minutes into the final term of the Swans regular season and the Crows season full stop.
And it comes Cleary from the stoppage, straightens up, doesn't quite have the finish. Caden Cleary under some late pressure down there in the pocket from Hugh Bond. So the rookie misses to the right-hand side. Waiting for the full-time siren, both of these sides. The Swans by 32 points.
Rory Laird, he's had their most disposals this year. That's number 28 for him, but it's half smothered. So it's up for grabs on the edge of the 50. Saligo palms off Mills. And the Crows break through the middle. Hands come to Berry. He handballs it forward to Keys. There's a whistle on play. Free kick will be downfield to Keys. Inside the centre square, has Dawson running past him. Uses that ripping left foot of his. Still inside the centre square, the Crows. Dowling marks. Looks to his right. Francis coming back, but standing there and taking the grab. I think it's Tex Walker underneath a pack of 3. Florent landed on him. The 34-year-old was made to earn that. He marks it and will kick for goal from a tight angle from about 42 metres. Tex Walker. So it's 32 points the margin at the moment. I mentioned it a couple of times, but Taylor Walker doesn't know what his future is. Imagine they would have announced it if this was his final game. Can he get a goal in this 4th quarter? On that familiar right shoe, across the face of goal. Did it get a touch? It went out on the full and it did get a touch. So we'll have a ball in the left forward pocket. No score added. Swans still lead by 32.
Matthew Nicks watching on. Assistant coach is there. Nathan Van Berlo alongside him. Out of the ruck they go. O'Brien tumbles his snap towards goal and misses to the right-hand side. So it's the Swans by 31 points.
Jake Lloyd back there, spins the ball in his hand. They will just chip it around. They will not want anything to happen this late in the game. Errol Goulden marks in the left back pocket. That's touch number 24 for him. He's slowed down since half-time, so I think he's been put on ice. One of the stars. Short kick to Adams. He goes up the line and spoiled over the boundary line. We'll have a ball in as the 4th quarter is just about coming to a close in front of the Adelaide bench.
After plenty of slow starts this year, the Swans have been near critical time at home. The minor premiership is theirs. It's a coronation for the team that has been on top since round 8. The Swans passed their final assignment and beat the Crows by 31 points. a total of 13 goals kicked in the first quarter alone. The Swans did kick 6 of the first 7. The Crows stayed with them. From there, though, the home side pushed away. 11 different goal kickers tonight to lead by 37 points at half-time, by 52 points at the final change. The Crows did pull things back thanks to Zach Taylor and Riley Philthorpe down the stretch, but in the end, it is still 31 points, that final margin.
Cheer, cheer the red and the white, honour the name by day and by night, lift that noble banner high, shake down the thunder from the sky, whether the odds be great or small, Swans will go in and win overall, while our loyal Swans are marching onwards to victory.
Full-time score, Sydney 18-13, 121 to the Adelaide Crows, 13-12, 90. The goal kickers, Luke Parker had 3 goals to go with 19 disposals. McDonald also had 3, 2 each for Goulden, Blakey and Amati in his 50th game. Singles to Warner, Rowbottom, Rampy, Melican, McLean and Florent. Meanwhile, for the Adelaide Crows, I mentioned 3 goals, 3 for Riley Philthorpe. 3 also for Zach Taylor, 2 for Taylor Walker, as singles also to Nan Curvis, Keys, Dawson, Curtin and Berry. The Swans are minor premiers for a 10th time. They have never, at least in their time in Sydney, been premiers and minor premiers in the same year, as they look to, well, be in the box seat for their first flag since the year 2012. By the way, also 6 straight wins against the Adelaide Crows, who finish Matthew Nix's 5th season in charge with 8 wins, 14 losses and 1 draw. The Swans winners here by 31 points. Your experts on ABC Sport. Premiership winner Ty Kennelly, dual best and fairest Lion and former Giant Joel Patfull.
It was almost the perfect game for the Swans, wasn't it? It's a perfect lead into the finals. They were challenged early by the Crows and had to reassess their defensive structure, and from there they were just too good. Clinical going forward. The Crows didn't have an answer for it, but to play a game of footy like that, and there wouldn't be many blokes with ice packs on them after this game, I wouldn't have thought. The Swans would have had pre-season training sessions that had more physical contact than that game tonight, so they would be wrapped with the result and ready to go through into their finals campaign.
Yeah, it doesn't say much, does it, about Adelaide Crows? You know, when you come up and you put that out as your last game of the year, and you said it, you know, it can scar you. You know, the scoreboard has scarred you, but the performance itself was bottom right. It's unacceptable as an AFL football club to throw that up. You know, because Sydney really, from 10 minutes into the second half, just played with them. And I think from a Sydney perspective, they'll be delighted to get through the game injury-free, which is the main, obviously getting the win first of all, but being injury-free and being able to get some of that fast ball movement going and kicking game that we haven't seen from them for the past month of football. You know, and now it's 3 wins in a row coming into the finals, albeit they talk about a slump that Sydney had, but they got parts of the game going really well tonight, which will be very pleasing for John and the coaching staff.
I know it's a different game, but they again did it with basically 1 really good quarter. The first quarter was even, but that second quarter they kicked 6 goals to 1. Can that stand up in finals though? Because all year they've sometimes won games with 1 really good quarter. You still feel nervous for them if a team comes out, and I think, like you said at the start of the game, Ty, blows them away with 5-6 goals in the first.
Yeah, I think definitely. They're still not playing that same footy as they played earlier in the year. I don't think they're at 100%. Still a few guys to come back into that team, but they would be a little bit nervous about the consistency of their performance. But then again, they have the confidence late in a game that they can score quickly, and if they're 5 or 6 goals down, they know they can score quickly and get themselves back in the game as well.
Like tonight's game, they had the queue in the rack from halfway through the third quarter, you know, so they weren't challenged at all in the second half of the game, and they've done what they've done, you know. And, they addressed it a small bit as far as the starts itself in the first quarter. They're late at quarter time. That's all you can ask. In the first 10-15 minutes of the first quarter, they absolutely blew Adelaide away. So they've been the best team in the competition for 3 quarters of the year. They're minor premiers, and they've got 3 top-end players to come into their team. They've got through the last 2 weeks of football winning comprehensively in tonight's game. They're in a prime position to win a premiership. As far as preparation, as far as what they've done from a season, it's a hard competition to be a minor premiership, and it's well done to the boys and everyone at the club for winning it. But it's from now, and I think everyone in Sydney in the AFL world, their season really starts now. We know what this team has. They've got this premiership window of a group of footballers. There's a lot of them in the 30. They're down to be in business, and they've. We talked about it pre-game around the grind of knowing that you're in the top 4 and you're in minor premiers almost.
It's been a long year as well.
It's been a long year.
Yeah.
So, they're primed.
This year started. They played the very first game of the season, the Swans, back in
March.
The actual, I think it was always March.
March.
It was the 7th of March.
Was it? You said it was the earliest start ever to an AFL season, wasn't it?
Yeah. So that was the opening round game on the Thursday night against Melbourne back on the 7th of March. It's been a long year, an extra game, an extra bye. Of course, all the teams are adjusting, but it's different gravy. Now, of course, a week off, which I'm sure will be very well welcomed by the likes of Brodie Grundy et al. That have played every game this year. So there you go. You can keep your texts coming, 0437 774. I don't want to look too far ahead, Tig, but I mean, they could, provisionally at the moment, they'll play the Giants. Yeah. For the 4th time, those sides could meet in an AFL final, which is extraordinary given one of them is the youngest club in the competition. And I think the Giants wouldn't mind that, to be honest.
I think they'd prefer the Cats, wouldn't they? If the Giants win, I'm saying the Swans.
Yes,
the Swans would prefer obviously the Cats coming up here, and playing them in Sydney. So there's a lot to watch from a Sydney perspective, obviously, tomorrow. But
can't wait. It's fantastic to have this situation. The Swans at least know one thing. They've got them on a premiership wrapped up. We'll recap Brisbane Essendon later on as well. Look ahead to tomorrow, but we'll enjoy this with John Longmire and the Sydney Swans. Poppy Penny is down in the Sydney Swans rooms. They've just sort of stopped the top of the Paul Kelly race, and they're milling about with a few of their supporters that have come to sort of see them. Dane Rampy's come across. He was subbed out as a precaution early in the final term, but they're all just sort of sitting around and soaking this up with their fans on the members' side of the ground. The Sydney Swans, 31-point winners tonight. Winners earlier today, Brisbane over Essendon, Hawthorn over North Melbourne, Geelong over West Coast. That's putting it lightly as far as those two games are concerned. Describing Hawthorn and Geelong merely as winners against North and West Coast respectively, but also Gold Coast over Richmond. So a massive Saturday, and now we embark on the final day of the home and away season. The Swans, though, are a picture of joy and jubilation, celebration with their fans. John Longmire waves to fans spread out across all parts of the SCG. The 36,500 strong crowd has thinned out somewhat, but the minor premiership has been wrapped up in the year 2024. Poppy Penny, they're on their way down to see you.
Yes, well, it's members' thank you round, so I imagine that's why they're spending a bit of extra time with the fans. Taylor Adams, the first ones in the room, and Isaac Heaney is standing high-fiving every single player as they come in the rooms. Obviously, he had a little rest this week and he'll be all tuned up, ready to go for the first week of the finals. Coming in, grabbing some hydration, and there's a fair few friends and family and maybe even some fans down here as well who are very excited to see the minor premiers make their way into the rooms after that win over Adelaide. They're just slowly making their way in now. They're all sort of huddling up in the rooms, getting ready, taking their time, to be honest, to get into the rooms. They're waiting for a couple of players who are sort of chatting to staff. It's all very exciting. And here we go. The minor premiers singing their song.
Back to you shortly, Poppy. The top seeds spelt out the song, not in the most convincing of circumstances, but they are just 2 home wins away from contesting their 6th premiership win. Of course, they have lost their last 3 grand finals. Not to get too far ahead, of course. There's still a few steps to achieve there, but a week off, and the Swans in the box seat and resume the chase to the premiership as flag favourites. They're, at least for now, 2 games clear on top. Port Adelaide, of course, plays Freo tomorrow. And Poppy Penny, back down to you in the Swans rooms.
Yeah, I'm with Errol Goulden down here. Errol, first of all, congratulations, minor premiers officially. You guys were kind of the only ones not having to worry about your spot in the top 8. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's a great feeling. Obviously, it's been a bit of an up and down year, but to finish on such a positive note's great. And really well done to the boys tonight, and very keen to be back here in a couple of weeks.
Adelaide gave you a bit of a run in that first quarter, but from there you guys kind of put the foot down. How much confidence does that give you guys to know that you have that next gear?
Yeah, it's always good to have a performance like we did tonight. I think we probably put the cue in the rack three-quarter time. But, the first quarter we probably let them score a little bit too much. We probably need to work on that, just tightening it. Their score per inside 50 was a little bit high, but overall just a really solid performance tonight.
The bye week next week before the finals, what does that look like for you guys?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm not too sure. Yeah, I think we've got a couple of days off now, and we'll obviously train later in the week and over the weekend. But, the exact schedule I'm not too sure of.
Tomorrow, the games impact who you might play in round one of the finals. What are you like? Are you a footy watcher, or are you going to ignore it and just find out what the results are at the end of the day?
To be honest, I'm climbing the Harbour Bridge tomorrow with my girlfriend, so I'm pretty keen to do that. That's what I'm looking forward to.
That's a very good outcome for you. You can ignore the results. I'm in the rooms with Errol Goulden. Errol, I'll throw you up to the guys upstairs.
Well done, Earl. Tig here, mate. New position for you, streaming out of full forward.
Yeah.
In the last quarter. What's the most pleasing thing for the year? Obviously, minor premiers, but from a midfielder, what's the most pleasing thing from you as a team?
It's a really good question. I think probably, to be honest, the way we've been able to respond the past couple of weeks, I think we obviously went through a pretty tough period where we weren't playing the footy we liked, but most of the boys who've come in have done their job really solid, and I feel like we've had boys go down or kind of not playing in form. We've had other boys step up and play really solid footy, and it takes a full squad to finish minor premiers and hopefully go a little bit further as well. And I'm just so proud of how our entire squad's really battled hard and trained hard, and to put ourselves in this position now where we've got a couple home finals hopefully.
How are you feeling physically? Obviously, a fantastic year last year, winning a lot of accolades and whatnot, but physically this time of the year compared to last year?
Yeah, to be honest, I feel a little bit fresher. I think last year was a bit of a different year for me. Obviously, probably playing or having a breakout year. And to be honest, when the season finished last year, I was pretty mentally exhausted and was almost ready for the season to be over. But I feel really good this year. I've probably been able to rotate through a few different positions, and tonight was able to kind of basically not play the last quarter. So, I feel really good. I think also just the way that we've been training and recovering and working really hard in the pre-season set us up to be feeling really good this time of year.
Enjoy a few rounds of golf, mate, over the next few days, eh?
Absolutely. The weather's looking peachy too.
Sounds good, mate. Joel Pafler for your nice game tonight. Mate, you boys have been on top of the ladder for pretty much the whole season, so does it feel nice to get that out of the way now and be able to concentrate on finals coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. To be completely honest, we haven't really spoken about it or thought about it too much, but it's obviously we would have taken finishing first at the start of the year, so it's a great achievement by the boys, but it's almost hit the reset button now and rest for a few days, come back and hopefully have a big month of footy ahead of us.
Errol, it's Brett Sprigg. That first term was fun to watch for us, 13 goals in total, but a couple of goals stand out. Those of Dane Rampy and Lewis Milliken. I don't know if you'd even debuted yet when Lewis Milliken kicked his previous goal, or Dane Rampy. I think he kicked on a couple of years ago. It's rare, and it was obviously a lot of fun for you guys.
Yeah, it was. I don't think the boys get more pleasure out of seeing anyone kick a goal than the key defenders. So to see them both kick a goal in the same game, it would have been nice to have a multi on them too to kick one. It would have been paying pretty nicely, but it's just so awesome to see those boys pop forward. And to be honest, we get more excitement out of seeing them kick a snag than when we kick one ourselves.
It wasn't like you had a slow start. You kicked 7 goals, 4 in that first term. You have had slow starts this year, but the Crows were still with you because they'd kicked 6. What did Horse say at quarter time to help you find the extra gear?
Yeah, as I mentioned, it was just probably the scores per inside 50 were a bit high. We weren't really helping our defenders out. They were getting pretty clean ball use and able to hit the lead up. So we just had to kind of put a little bit more heat on around the contest and just kind of get more numbers over there and then compete a little bit harder once the ball went inside D50 and hopefully get back there and outnumber and help our defenders. So we obviously rectified that for the last 3 quarters.
Errol, with the last game being at home and now a week off, and you'll have 2 home finals, it's something like 35 days at a minimum you will have here in Sydney, which is so rare for a team like the Swans. Tell us a bit like how that will affect you and how good it'll be to have so much home time and no travel.
Yeah, it'll be really good. I think, if you ask anyone, obviously prefers the comfort of their own bed and not living in a hotel for an extended period of time. But I think we love playing in front of our home fans as well at the SCG. The amount of people that have been coming to watch the footy this year in New South Wales has been amazing. It's so good for the game, and you just love to see the growth. So to have 2 home finals where we're obviously ecstatic with that, and it'll be nice to be able to spend a bit more time at home than down in Melbourne or in Adelaide or something like that.
Errol Gordon with us in the Swans rooms here on ABC Sport. You mentioned you don't know who you're going to meet yet. It may well be the Giants, and I feel like the Giants wouldn't mind that to be here in Sydney and play sort of as a pseudo home team against you guys. But it's incredible if that does eventuate, and obviously the rivalry is so real. Do you think about what may fall in place for you guys for a couple of weeks' time?
I mean, you'd be lying if you say you don't kind of do the theoretical possibilities, but obviously it'd be pretty cool for footy in New South Wales if the 2 Sydney teams are playing against each other. The crowd will be up and about, but we know that whoever we're playing will pack out the SCG, and I don't even think the top 4 or top 8 set yet. Obviously, there's a few big games tomorrow, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But the competition's been so tight this year, and I feel like anyone can kind of match anyone's best on any given day. So we'll have to be on, but we'll celebrate the achievement we had so far this season, finishing on top, and train hard for the next couple of weeks, and looking forward to a packed out SCG.
The season began here back on the 7th of March. It's been the earliest or the longest possible season. That was the earliest possible start. Does it feel like a long time ago? Do you feel the extra game and the extra bye?
Oh, it feels a long time ago, but it doesn't. You know what I mean? The season, to be fair, I feel like it's gone pretty quick, but you look back and it does feel like it was a long time ago. But we've obviously had the extra bye this week as well. We'll have another week off next week, so in that regard, we're being looked after. And to the credit of our S&C staff, the recovery this year, that we've been really on top of it. They've been making us get in the ice basket when we don't necessarily want to, and really pushing us. So I feel like the squad's in good shape, and should help us in the long run.
We've got to let you go. Well done tonight, Errol. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Errol Goulden here on ABC Sport after the Swans were victorious by 31 points here at the SCG. Thanks to Poppy Penny. Wrapping up the interview there with Errol Goulden. So there you go. That's the situation there. And one thing I could have asked him about this, but they have a big finals campaign ahead of them. I imagine on some level, something they might do next week, and they're good at this, the Swans men's players who support the AFLW team. Of course, they play the opening game of the season at North Sydney Oval next Friday, so I'm sure a few of them will turn out for that, which will be great.
Yeah, most of them were there at North Sydney Oval last year. I remember seeing them in the stands, so I'm sure they'll get around it. Well, I wonder if Errol Goulden's packing anything in his pocket on the way up to the bridge. It'd be a nice way to do it. What do you think? He wouldn't have told us, would he, if he was going up there and had a ring in the pocket?
I don't think so. He's still... Oh, you never know.
What is he, 21, 22?
22.
He's good at... He's quick at everything else. He's achieving everything early.
Don't do it, Errol. If you're listening, mate. He's still got the cans on. Errol, come back to us, mate. Don't do it, brother. Just wait a while, man. Got plenty of time.
There may be something coming his way. I mean, you mentioned there are the awards nights next week, so it was All-Australian last year. A couple of the Crows guys too. I'll touch on them in a moment. But they, of course, named the Under-22 All-Australian team as well, and they do all that sort of stuff next week. There's the Players MVP. I think the coaches might be, or is that later? I lose track. But
so they named the 22 Under-22. Not only did Goulden make it, but Rochelle made it, which is quite funny for the game.
So that's been finalised?
That's been finalised,
okay.
They had the 40 and then they voted. It's a public vote.
Yes. A couple of the Crows guys are in the top 40, like Michaeloni and etc.
Yeah, Rochelle was the only one to make it.
Yes, there we go. Thank you. But yeah, they've got the awards nights, which is all part of the fun of the new format with the bye week next week. Do you guys like the bye week, the pre-finals bye? By and large, do you feel it offers a bit more to the premiership race, as we saw with the Bulldogs in that very first year, 2016? Do you like it overall, Joel and Tyke?
Well, I don't like it for that reason, because the Bulldogs beat us in the prelims. So I think, like you said, the length of the season with how it's been this year is needed. I think it looked like there was a lot of tired players out there tonight, even from the Swans. They looked like they were getting through, freshen up, give the best possible chance for those teams to perform next week.
I hate it.
I like it.
Nah, keep it going and just give the bye the week before the granny.
So that's the other thing. So you'd move the bye to
the granny.
Would you?
The build-up would be incredible.
There's a bit going for this.
There's the teams that are on. I've seen it in other sports. It happens in Gaelic football at home. I've seen it in NFL. The hype and the excitement are on. And it makes for a better grand final. It has to. Players getting rested, better recovery, might make for a better final campaign, but you're also the system doesn't reward the top 4 teams for winning the season. So you've been top 4 team, everyone else gets a break for finishing the 8.
There's still a pretty hefty reward, though.
There is. The top 4 play it out, play it through. So you're giving chances to these 6, 7 and 8s to win a flag like we saw Bulldogs do.
You've just changed my mind. I'm with you.
You've moved the bar to the pre.
Well, I think it works. Like you said, with the Super Bowl and the build-up, and it creates such a good atmosphere around that last game, and that's the biggest game of the year eventually. So you want to have your team as fit as possible and ready to play that last game.
Scratching his head.
I tried to shut the COVID years out of my mind because WA hosted the grand final that year, but they happened in 2021. They did have the bye after the prelims because of quarantine reasons.
Yeah.
But
the counter argument is you get every team having every fresh player, so you get a better whole final series rather than just 2 teams getting that benefit.
Yes.
And the anticipation for that Thursday night is huge as well. So
I couldn't give about the other teams, but a grand final is the biggest occasion in the country in the sporting world in Australia, and we want the best players to be fresh and playing. But that's just my opinion.
Because you look at Hawthorn and the Dogs, who, by the way, the Dogs aren't even locked in for the finals yet because they.
Who'd want to play Hawthorn? My God. You just want to stay well away from them.
And they're only 6th.
It's right. So yeah, I just think keep it flowing. And the Swans play the final next week at home. They're in a prelim, and then every week off. It's just, I think it just gives teams that scrape into the 8 a chance, which it has proven to happen with the Dogs getting on that run, obviously.
31 points is the final margin here. You're with Brett Sprigg, Declan Byrne, Ty Kennelly, Joel Patfull. Your text remain welcome, 0437 774 774.
Just looking at the TV, the screen, waiting for Nixie to come out of the coach's box or out of the team meeting. It's heartbreaking. I know Nixie quite well, obviously being an ex-teammate of ours. And, he's hanging around in Sydney for a few days, and a few of us are catching up. But it's just.
So I'll give you some context around this, Tiger. Sorry to cut you off, but only 3 coaches in the club's history have coached the Crows for 5+ years. Gary Ayres makes the finals in 60% of his seasons. Neil Craig in just over 70% of his seasons. Matthew Nicks, this is his 5th season. This club, by the way, overall, hasn't played finals since that 2017 grand final. So it goes beyond Matthew Nicks. But you look at 2020's first year, 3-14, a shortened year. 2021, another COVID year, 7-15. 2022, 8 wins, 14 losses. That's more or less the same this year, 8-14 and a draw with the extra game. Last year, 11-12. They've gone backwards this year. So there is a lot of pressure on, not just Matthew Nicks, the administration overall. And the Josh Rochelle stuff, it manifested as Josh Rochelle being the scapegoat and all the rest of it. And that's just, again, a symptom of sweeping issues at that club. But Matthew Nicks, who, by the way, was re-signed in March for 2 more years. So he has 2 more years on that contract. There's a lot of questions around the future direction. If it's not Matthew Nicks, who's locked in for 2 more years, where do the Crows go from there? Because it's been a disappointing year, 15th, their final place.
From Nixie's point of view, like 21 and 2021, the COVID years, it's obviously quite difficult to come in as a head coach at a football club and what happened. To have an impact and everything that was going on in the world at the time, it seems so long ago, and I'm trying to give Nixie a couple of years leeway here, but it's the list piece is the issue. That where is the list going, and that's where you last year you could see the where they were going and what they were trying to do, and it's the backside's fallen out of it a bit in the past 5 weeks, and that's the concern from Nixie's point of view, and where the team is finishing. It's kind of, well, is it me? Is it albeit he's signed a 2-year contract, but if he's not getting through to him and they're not playing the way he wants to play, well, it's very, very difficult to coach a team, isn't it?
Well, I think that's what it comes down to, and it's been such a fall-off. They looked so promising last year, and everything was heading in the right direction, and they did have that culture that was building, and they looked like they were going to take the next step and really push for finals this year. And it really has just fallen off from the start of this season. They lost the first 4 games and have not been able to regain any of that momentum. So I think you're right about the message that he's trying to preach, and he talks about culture and building that culture and setting standards, but the way that this season's ended, it definitely doesn't look like the players are buying into that, and they're not showing the traits that he's trying to build in that footy club.
Yeah, which is all we can do is judge on what we see, and what we saw there tonight was it's totally unacceptable. And I'm sure Nixie will be saying that in the rooms to him after the game. You know, they played with so much flair last year and excitement, and they looked really fresh and exciting the way they were playing their game. But we haven't seen that this year, and it's been a difficult year for them.
Yeah, it goes so broad too. So you talk about recruiting, high performance, all that sort of stuff as well.
Well, right up to the board level, like what's happening in the decisions trickling down into the football club, and the people responsible for the football club themselves, and the buck stops with your CEO, your football manager, and then your chairman and your coach. They're the four big ones as far as making decisions in the football club and the board members. What's been happening, and that's going to be the questions going to be asked, and it should be. I'm sure there'll be some form of a review of the football club, and most clubs do it every year. Some clubs come out and say publicly we're doing a football department review to put some pressure on, but every club does a review at the end of the season.
0437 774 774 is the SMS. The crowd here, by the way, was 36,491, thanks to Poppy Penny in the Swans room. So we'll have a Errol Goulden picture go up online, and I'm sure we'll find some...
who's taller?
Fletcher Doherty, our man in the social.
Who's
We'll find a funny line about this. Errol
who's taller?
Poppy.
Poppy?
Errol just.
Is he?
Do you reckon... Do you reckon Errol Goulden would... For a long time there, Ty, probably midway through your career, we had this obsession with prototype players, and if you weren't... it was 6'2", you had small forwards who were six... Would Errol Goulden have got a look in maybe 10, 15 years ago?
I remember seeing him, honestly. I just finished playing footy. I'd retired about 10 years ago, and he was playing in the under-14s for the Swans against the Giants in Albury, and I'd heard about this kid, and I saw him rack up 50 disposals, and I was like, you're kidding me. And he was tiny then, and the talk had always been he's too small. Even coming through his draft years, his draft year itself, I was like, well, is Kinnear going to take him? Are they going to take him or not? Because of his size, but he's just ability to work. He's clearly he's got a footy brain, but his work ethic is off tap. And combine the two, you get what you get.
I think now more than ever, the way the game's being played, you reward footy players.
Yeah.
An athlete, they went down that track, and I didn't think it worked. So a genuine footy player now stands out so much more in terms of talent, skill level, and then if you add work ethic to that as well, you've got a great player. So I think,
and so it should be.
Yeah.
You can always get an athlete that you can pull them out of a hat and put them out there, and it's probably the challenging piece for the AFLW programs in football, that they need to get the most skilled players into the game and try and upskill them from a younger age. And that's what the appeal of the AFLW is, taking players from other sports because they can make the transition quicker. But I'm glad that, there's space for athletes, don't get us wrong, but